If you're there, you know the drill. It's only the haters that don't know what we're doing. Why is she staring at the screen? Because I have to change something. Okay. Okay. Just make sure all those get in there. Okay. All right. Where is Streamlabs? Okay, hold on a second. Somehow we don't have our studio. I don't want to, no, hold on a second. It has to be multi-streaming and I'm not multi-streaming. I've got to just get out of this thing that I'm in right now. I don't know why I'm in that. Okay. I'm going to log out. That usually gives me gallery view. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Well, I don't want to multi-stream. Oh, hold on. No, now I lost everything. Okay. Okay, that didn't do anything. All right, well, if I can't pull this up, I'll just go and stream some. I mean, I'll just go look at the YouTube thing, even though it's on a delay. I don't want to do this. Okay. Oh, this is crazy. All right, I'm not gonna, I just can't see, that's all. Let me see if I, yeah, okay, so that hopefully is now. All right, so what do I have to see? I don't have to see anything. I just don't know what happened to the. Oh, wait a second, maybe, no. Oh, I think it should go there, but it's not doing it. All right, forget it. Okay, let me just, I can't say anything, but I'll need to put something up anyway, and we're going to go into this. Hi, Carla. Hi, the Brownie Clan. Hi, Lonnie. Hi, Norma. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Mary Warren. Hi, Ohio Italian Lady. Hi, Gigi. Hi, Linda. Hey, Frosty. Frosty, you're back again, Frosty, huh? You'd come back again someday? Isn't it getting hot for you? T. Prang, Mary Kim, Tracy, Mama T, Suri, Kathy, Shar, Ann Fox, Muka, Flower Girl, Gigi. If I call your name twice, I just can't. You too. Bye-bye, Frost. Are you leaving? Come back again someday. Gigi, Mom Kitchener, Reacting to Reacts. Hey, how you doing? Reacting to Reacts. It's your first time here reacting to Reacts, huh? Hey, Linda, T. Prang, 5 girlfriends, and I had a drink. Oh, you did? On a Zoom meeting? Good for you. Good for you. Did anybody lose it? Lynn Moon, Julie, Stephanie Shea, Amber, Kansas Sunflower. You don't belong here? Okay. Well, then, you can just go on. It's a free country. Hey, Angel Muniz, how are you? Variety show? You love Gail B? Air Chunk says, so I kind of have a bit of an understanding of what this is about. I was just now watching Tiger King. Okay, well, I don't know how far you've got in there, but we're going to be talking about Carole Baskin. Got some dirt on that. Frosty, I think it was about you. The first time you came in here, you weren't the nicest person, right? You were saying some really bizarre things. Norma Thomas. Indeed you were, right? Right. Okay. Gail B, how are you? Did I get you, Norma, Grace? Okay. So, Michelle, Free Joe Exotic. Okay, let's go into Carole, because I can't see anything. So I'm just going to minimize this and pull up. So I'm not in the chat. Anybody I missed? Hi. So what we're first going to look at is, hold on. Okay, did you know that, let me see if this is the one I want. I'll pull this up now. It's going to be hard for me to see. Oh, I guess I'll have to go to YouTube and try to see it. Okay. So, let's get, we're going to find out a lot of stuff about Carole. We're also going to find out that when she married Howard, that's when things with the business really started to change. Transparency and all that, right? Okay. So, she used to have an old website. It was kind of like The Secret, about how to be a millionaire. Carole's really... I'm just going to give you another picture of Carole here to look at. Hold on. Come on, Carole. Are you really not going to let me open a picture of you, Carole? Shut that. Okay. Hold on. Oh, no, it's not going to let me do anything. Are you joking? Okay, so I'm just going to have to, I can't put any pictures up. So Big Cat Rescue, she says that she had a 911 emergency wake-up call. It had never come close to being able to support itself, and for the first 11 years, it relied heavily on Carole. I had lost my husband 4 years prior, and our assets were tied up in court. Poor Carole, right? Get out your violins. You're going to need them a lot during this. During that time, even though I had built our real estate business from the time I was 19, I was restricted to only being able to use $125,000 per year for the cats. The cost of running the sanctuary was several times that. I had sold off most of my personal effects to feed the cats. Start warming up on the violins. I was near the end of my rope when 9/11 rocked the world. Donations and tourism stopped. It just stopped. The money over and above what I was able to provide was not coming, and I wondered how would I feed 150 big cats. As the weeks turned into months and 2002 rolled around, there seemed to be no hope of the economy turning around. I used the last $20,000 I had in a last-ditch effort to find some way to turn this all around. I could feed the cats for a few more weeks, or I could take this gamble and hopefully find a way to ensure the cat's future. It was not an easy decision. I hired a team to look at the solution and advise me of what to do to turn it around. I had never employed consultants before, but I was out of ideas. They put me through a visual process that is commonly called a SWOT analysis. This is where you list your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats and try to come up with a game plan. We didn't come up with a game plan, but they were well worth their $20,000 because they got me thinking about something other than what I was seeing. As I wrote down all the strengths and opportunities, I found myself focusing on them. I would hardly even think of a reason why I couldn't succeed, because failing was not an option. I just kept thinking about all of the strong points that I and the sanctuary had. I kept thinking about all of the opportunities that were available and believed that we deserved the good that I was picturing. In November of 2002, I met my husband, Howard. I brought him out to meet the cats, and when we approached our west fence, tears welled up in my eyes, and I saw the condos being built next door. Developers wanted my land and were threatening to have me shut down if I didn't sell, but I couldn't sell. The money the land was worth was not enough to start over again. I explained the threats I had been dealing with and the belief that I could not get the zoning I needed to stay. Howard set off on a mission to find out what needed to be done to secure the zoning and immediately attracted into our lives people in all of the fields that we needed. And they were donating their time to help. Oh, wait till you hear about the vets that donate their time. All that veterinary care, she claims, every single vet she uses donates his time to her. Every single one. As part of the process, they asked us to draw a huge map of the 42 acres and think about everything we would ever want to have for the animals and for the furtherance of our mission. This seemed ridiculous. I didn't even know how I was going to feed the cats, to be dreaming up a multi-million-dollar place with buildings and cat hospitals and snack bars and education centers and the like. Yeah, you just have a place with a bunch of old trailers. But I dared not show my negativity in the presence of so many gracious people who were trying to help, for free too. So I dreamed, just like with our volunteers, I try not to ever let them see how desperate things were, right? I don't want them to despair and give up. Of course you don't, because then you'll have to pay somebody to actually work. Whenever I dreamed small, I was encouraged to make it bigger, better. All I would ever want, and because we had to get the zoning approvals now for everything the sanctuary might ever be, I dreamed big. I thought about all of the wonderful things we could do for those cats and how we could create a better world by reaching all those people who weren't there, but who I was sure would be coming. I could see a wonderful future. I believed it was in the making. I did everything I could every day to bring it into reality, and before I knew it, things were turning around. The right people were showing up. The donations began increasing. The message was being spread, and laws were being changed to protect the animals. Does she ever pay it forward? I didn't do this by myself. I saw what I wanted, and some of the most wonderful people in the world showed up to make it so. Since 2005, the sanctuary has actually been able to support itself, and is doing so in a time when others are folding for lack of funds. If you're reading this, you're probably one of the people who has helped to make us what we are today. No, sorry. I am so happy and grateful that the right people came along and showed me how to use the law of attraction, and this is what I want to share with you. This is her website, okay? So she goes on to talk about the boats, planes, island home, and celebrities. Okay, secret has always worked in her business life, she says, but I'm just now learning how to apply it to every aspect. Sometimes you have to be careful of what you ask for because I think God has a sense of humor. Okay, she says she's never cared about material things, but I know that in order to accomplish all that I intend to accomplish for the betterment of society, I have to have financial security. See, she doesn't want all that money, guys. She's never cared about that. It's never even been on her radar. The only reason she needs all that is because she has to do it to accomplish what she wants for the betterment of society. She'd be happy living in a tent somewhere. She really doesn't need that or want that, but she needs to have that financial security. Financial security is a hard thing to really see in your head, so I borrowed from Jack Canfield's advice and pictured the lifestyle that goes along with it as a way to bring it about. Again, I don't have any desire for the jet-set lifestyle. She doesn't have a desire for it, but she has to have it. It's not her fault. But was attempting to find a way to picture enough money to ensure that I can continue to provide for my family, for the sanctuary that is home to more than 100 lions and tigers and other big cats, and especially the funds needed to change the laws so that the animals are treated with more compassion. How many laws has she changed? So I pictured the island home, the yachts, the planes, the cars. The call, this doesn't even make sense. This is not even grammatically correct. Okay, let's see how we can fix this. The celebrities. Within a week, a movie star, movie stars, that I have only met twice called me and invited me to be her guest at the home of one of her supporters. Oh my goodness. She offered to have someone come for me in a private plane. Everything she's picturing is coming true. When I went online to their website to find out a little more about them, I saw the island house that I had pictured. Oh my gosh, she's magic. With 2 yachts and a seaplane tied up on the beach. Once I arrived, I saw a Bentley and a Porsche in the garage, and some of the nicest and most generous people I have ever met. No wonder she took this website down, huh? I was half tempted to pinch them just to see if they were real. Usually people say you pinch yourself to see if you're not dreaming, but I know you don't want any pain, so you'd like to pinch other people. Everybody knows your number, Carole. They treated me to a lovely dinner cruise on their yacht. They asked me to spend the night in their resort. They were so hospitable and wanted to help me in any way possible. It was obvious that they know and practice the secret. Yeah, Carole, it is. Yes, that's absolutely what it must be. You're so right, Carole. Oh my gosh, genius. I was able to spend some quality time with a celebrity that I barely knew, and now we are working together to create some better legislation. Let's see how much legislation she's changed. That's such a small example, just a tiny little example of the power of this law of attraction that she has a whole website on that she's going to teach you about, for a price, right? And it makes me smile every time I think about the level of detail that was all manifested in such a short period of time. Sincerely, Carole Baskin, founder of the Big Cat Rescue. But that's not all. Okay, we're going to find out a little bit. She had to learn to walk again. She left home at the age of 15. Why? Why'd she leave home at the age of 15? But I must admit, it was because of my own misperceptions and not because of anything my family did. Were you a big giant brat? I had the benefit of being raised by people who taught me early to read The Power of Positive Thinking, Cybernetics, Think and Grow Rich, etc. Oh my gosh. And they always told me that I could accomplish anything I set my mind to. That's why you left the house at 15, because everything was so wonderful, right? And you were so wonderful. I had taken up with a man who was much older, and his name was than me, named Jim. He was 6'4". He weighed 230 pounds, and he was both an alcoholic and a drug user. He sounds like a keeper, Carol. If she read all those books, and she was raised in such a way, wouldn't she have been picturing her Prince Charming, and wouldn't he have rode in on that big white stallion? He showed up at my door in West Virginia and said he wanted to go to Disney World. Instead, she got an alcoholic and a drug addict that showed up at her door and wanted to go to Disney World. I don't think it worked so well, did it, Carol? Jim had taken and failed his driver's license test 5 times. Gets better and better. I told him I would drive us there. My plan was to drive him back to Tampa, where his family lived, rather than Orlando, where Disney World was, and for most of the trip I had him fooled. When it came time to make the last leg of the journey, Jim was drunk, but he was on to me. He had turned around in the seat and was hitting me, screaming at me, in this case, more importantly, blocking my view. I missed the stop sign and drove into the path of a car twice as big as the little import I was driving that was doing 60 miles an hour. I want to see proof of this car accident. Not that I don't believe you, Carol. You're such a truth teller. The impact into my door crushed my car in half and threw me out through the windshield. I woke up the next day in the hospital with doctors telling me that 2 of the bones in my neck had been broken and that I would never walk again. You know who she reminds me of? Nellie in that wheelchair, faking it all the time until Laura rolled her down the hill and then it was a miracle. I'm sorry, it really does. They were telling me I would need a rod implanted in my spine just so that I would be able to sit up in a wheelchair. Really, Nellie? Dumbfounded, I couldn't speak. This could be my life. Some may have called this denial, but it was the unwillingness to accept this that kept it from becoming my reality. See, now she has all that power, but when she wasn't dreaming of her Prince Charming because she got an alcoholic drug addict that showed up at her door and wanted to go to Disney World, who was drunk and who was hitting her, right? How come it didn't work then, Carol? You're not making much sense. Jim and some of his friends helped me escape the hospital where I was listed as Jane Doe. So she couldn't walk. She's such a liar. She is such a freaking liar. She couldn't walk. She has bones broken in her neck. She needs a metal rod, but then an alcoholic drug addict that wanted to go to Disney World and his friends, can you imagine who they are, helped her escape the hospital. What'd they do? They did. I didn't want to be a burden to my family and wouldn't tell anyone who I was. Yeah, they probably disowned you, Carol. They took me to Jim's family, where I was bedridden. Yeah, I'm sure they took care of a paralyzed person, right, Carol? I would throw myself onto the floor and use my elbows to drag myself around the room. Can you imagine that one? No, neither can I. I used the furniture to pull myself up and was growing stronger every day, but I couldn't walk. So she willed herself to do all this, but she couldn't will herself the Prince Charming. I didn't want my family to know about my condition, but somehow my grandfather found out, and he came to take me to the chiropractor. That's where you go when you have broken bones in your neck and you're paralyzed. With the help of the chiropractor and my strong belief that I could accomplish anything, including the ability to walk again despite a broken neck, I was soon walking. I didn't even know about The Secret back then. You just said your parents read those books to you. Oh my gosh, this woman lies. I didn't know that I was bringing all of the bad experiences into my life because I was focusing on how bad things were. I didn't know that I was brought healing into my life. I was focusing on the image I could see in my mind's eye of being able to walk again. I was being thankful for the fact that I was alive and I was improving every day. It was that crystal clear image of where I intended to be and the thankfulness to God for what I had that made me whole. Then why didn't she even get the second husband right? Yeah. Carole, cut the crap. I didn't know what it was called. It would be 30 years before I would understand it. Now, okay, she didn't understand it. She got to walk where they told her she couldn't walk. She broke her neck. Okay, but she didn't. Now that I know, now because she wants you to buy it now, okay, the secret law of attraction, I want to share it with everyone for a price. And wait, there's more, right? Okay. Now Carole says, I always win. Always. So I can't even pull this over. I wonder if I start. Okay, because I love for you to see these pictures of Carole. I'm not boasting here. She's not. But stating a frame of mind that I've had since I was a child, and it has served me well. I was fortunate to have parents and grandparents who, she's repeating herself, so she can't even write original content here for her own website. This is totally repetitive of the up above. That told her she could do anything she wanted to do, and as a result, adopted the belief early. Do you see her, this woman contradicting herself? She just said she didn't understand that concept. Then she said twice, in about 6 paragraphs, two times, that she was blessed to have been raised with parents and grandparents that told her this. Okay? And so, as a result, she adopted that belief early. Okay, but it doesn't matter when you start. Anyone can change the way they think. Why did you use that, Carole? I remember being 5 or 6 years old and watching a kid's TV program on TV. The hero was vanishing all of the villains using a walking cane that had a lion's head grip that shot darts. I could see myself carrying that cane and saving the world. I never lacked for imagination, but most kids don't. At the commercial break, the announcer said, "You can win the treasure chest of toys, including the walking cane. All you have to do is mail in your name and address to win." And I believed him. I thought all I had to do was mail in my address. What did I know? Contests, odds, and such. So I did, and I won. From that day forward, I was convinced that whatever I wanted to win was mine. As a teenager at a roller skate-a-thon, I was raising money for MS. Out of 100 or more people people entered into a raffle. I pulled my own name from the hat. Can you imagine that? Not feeling that was fair, I dropped it back in. I haven't even read this, but I guarantee she pulls it out again, right? I dropped it back in, and someone else drew my name. Still feeling that I had somehow improved my odds unfairly, I threw it back in and asked someone else to draw, and again, my name was pulled. It wasn't until I took my one ticket out and asked that they draw again that a different winner was pulled. Oh, gosh. She was supposed to be the winner because she wins everything. I don't know what kind of odds that amounted to either, but it certainly reinforced my belief that I always win. Yeah, until you're in the slammer. As a result, I won't play the lottery because it somehow feels like I have an unfair advantage. Yeah, okay, I'd like to see you try. You can take it out in my name, okay? And I don't like the way that feels. Yeah, I'm sure. If you had that feeling when you were wondering how to feed the lions, if you had such an unfair advantage, you would have spent $1 on the lottery ticket. I got rich anyway without feeling bad about it. In fact, I feel great about it because even though I always win in business, I strive for win-win situations. I am never afraid to take on any challenge because I know before I start that I will succeed. You're such a smug little. Maybe you have never won anything in your life, but it's only because you haven't convinced yourself that you always win. If a 6-year-old can do it, so can you. The steps I took were so simple. I pictured myself with that darn cane. I believed it was coming to me. I took action and sent my name in. Every day tell yourself, I always win. Feel it, expect it. In no time you'll be experiencing it. Then she says, finding a soulmate. Now, let's see. She got the soulmate thing wrong. Well, how many times? Twice, right? Howard was 52 and was kind, funny, attractive, if you say so, gregarious, and financially secure. Well, I'm sure that last one is what matters to you. He was a semi-retired banker, a Harvard MBA with a law degree, who had been blessed with many friends and who had enjoyed the company of beautiful women. Yeah, I'm sure he did. That loved his money, not that he had really liked, but he had never married. Oh, he was waiting for you, Carole. It was always his desire to find his soulmate and marry, but it just never happened. He had never even lived with a woman. Now he was thinking it might never happen, and being discouraged, he had not dated in a year. He sat down at his desk and he decided he could try one last thing. He would put it out on the universe that he was ready to find her. 6 months earlier, I had broken up with a man who would rather see me dead than let me leave the house for fear that I would leave him. Okay, so she had someone else that she lived with that she leaves out between the husband that she probably killed or had killed and Howard. She knew all the things. She still didn't attract the right person. So you're going to believe her and give her your money and do this, right? Because she couldn't even do it. Okay. Carole, this is killing you. I bet anybody that read this would be like, why would I do this when you couldn't even do this? Okay. It just sounds like you found another shyster in order to do your website with, because he's a better shyster than you are. This is ridiculous. So she broke up with this man, and remember she said she was never going to love again, that Don was the love of her life. I wonder how many men were between Don and Howard. Okay. So this man that would rather see her dead and would not let her leave the house for fear that she would leave him because she was such a sought-after commodity there, you know. Why did I always attract the dangerous sort? I don't know, Carole. You should know that because you've known this concept since you were 5 years old. You don't make a bit of sense, lady. I would love to have you on panel, girl. Oh my gosh. You just said you understood it at 5 years old, 6 years old. She's infuriating. Okay. From the time I was 15, my life has been a continuous series of abusive relationships with men. Well, it's hard to imagine since you knew the secret at 5. I had always been attracted to charismatic, womanizing, the death-defying sort. They were always dead broke. Oh, I know how much you hate that. Or supporting themselves, incapable of supporting themselves. I loved the adventure, the intrigue, and the challenge of staying alive, but it came at a terrible cost to my health and my sanity, and at the age of 41, I didn't know how much I had of either left. Okay, so he is 11 years older than her, okay? I had always had trouble with my weight. That's believable. And given how little I eat and the way I eat, I had finally decided it was all in my head and went to see a hypnotist. It was in this semi-somnolent state that I discovered I always seek out the same relationships. Walking, I decided to make a conscious effort to change my choices in men. If he seemed daring, cavalier, or dark in any way, I would avoid him and seek out someone who was kind, funny, and financially secure. What's the matter, Jimmy? I'm online. You know that, right?
Huh?
Yeah, okay, I'm just telling you because you're dressed kind of weird.
I know.
Okay.
That's new.
All right.
I just had trousers on.
Yeah, but you have like, okay.
I know.
All right.
Don't worry.
I'm not worried.
Not you gonna laugh at it.
Okay. Where was I?
See, now they want to know what I have on.
I can't see anything because my thing is all screwed up. So where was I now? Oh, financially secure. When I first saw Howard, he was dressed in a plain gray business suit and was stiffly walking up the ramp to a fundraiser for a new initiative to save tens of thousands of dogs and cats from being euthanized in our county shelter each year. And I remember thinking to myself, I could sure loosen him up a bit. Hearing my footsteps behind him, he turned and kindly asked if I was attending this same function. He was everything I had never looked for in a man. What a compliment, Carole. I was everything he had never looked for in a woman. And that night we met was November 1st, 2002. And 6 months later, we moved in together. We were engaged a year after meeting and married 2 years after meeting. We have found all that we have wanted in each other, and together our lives are far more abundant, yeah, because you're both shysters, than they were before. I have never been so happy, so satisfied, so thrilled to be alive. Howie is my best friend. He is my business partner. He has helped me find ways to make the sanctuary self-supporting. I'm sure he has. He has been loving, attentive, fun, and a real joy to be around. We understand the secret, yeah. Fleecing people out of their money. And we co-created a beautiful life together. That's why you had to take down your website, huh? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Oh, that's profound. We both changed the way we looked for love and romance, and we found what we really wanted. And now she's going to talk about weight loss. And guys, okay, I'm not fat shaming anyone, but have you seen Carole? Well, she has the secret to weight loss now. God bless you. Now, why do you think she needed to take the website down? What happened to the secret, Carole? Carole's going to claim that she lost all the weight? Okay. Do you ever wonder why some people can eat anything and not get fat? And yet, if you even think about cookies, you put on 10 pounds. She's just going to every little thing people have, because people are down and out. They're looking at this. What are they wondering about? What do they need? They want to find the perfect mate, right? She hit on everything. She's such a schemer. They want to lose weight. They want to look better. And they want money. Carole, you are such a scam artist. I believe the key in this statement is the word think. From an early age, here we go again with the same paragraph. Carole, you are a terrible writer. I was taught to obsess about my weight. And is this a little different now? From an early age, you should start it with a different thing, okay? I was taught to obsess about my weight and appearance by the example set forth in my family's women. They were all notably beautiful, but they worked hard at it, always dieting, exercising, and never really being satisfied with the way they looked. Some people are influenced by the opposite extreme and grow up trying hard not to look like their family. In either case, these perceptions were often instilled in us when we were children, and so we accept the beliefs no matter how flawed. At 5'7", I weighed 212 pounds in 1998 and decided that I had to do something different. I had tried every diet imaginable, and I have amazing willpower, having given up smoking and drinking years before. That sounds like you have good willpower. It sounds like you have an addictive personality. But every time I would find a plan that would allow me to lose weight, I would drop a few pounds and then level out. Doesn't sound like you have good staying power or willpower, dear. By 2007, I had managed to stabilize at 165 pounds and was consuming 1,100 calories a day on a low-carb, high-vegetable protein diet. It isn't supposed to be possible to live on such a reduced caloric intake, but I haven't had a cold since 1997, and I've been consuming 1,100 calories a day or less since 2001. I eat 6 small meals and drink a gallon of water a day. I was playing tennis 3 days a week and working out at the gym 3 days a week, And I have been doing so since 1997. I was swimming and rollerblading 5 days a week. My biggest complaint was that I had no time to work because of all the time I was doing dieting and working out. Despite this, my weight crept up to 168. But now, I had really discovered the power of the secret. Yeah. She's such a lie. Oh, I can't stand people like this. Considering the fact that thoughts become things, you knew that a long time ago, Carole. You're such a liar. I decided to change the focus, but the sad thing is that you know how many people probably believed this crap and gave her money to focus from being fat to being thin. Like she doesn't even, she has this, I really wish I could show you these pictures, but maybe I should just restart my Google again. She's got this much of her body in the picture, okay? And she's like up against Harold. Like maybe they'll think I'm thin if I stand like this. Carole, your face gives it away, I'm sorry. She's a scam artist. Okay. So let's cut to the chase here, Carole. What happened because you gained the weight back? So thoughts become things. I decided to change my focus from being fat to being thin. And instead of moaning every morning that no matter what, I can't lose weight, I decided to imagine myself thin. She just imagined herself thin. And every morning when she came up, she said a prayer and she saw herself slender and beautiful. I know that I can attract anything I want and believe that I am attracting this into my life. One lie you may be telling yourself is that you have some condition or that everything makes me fat. And that isn't true. Outside of you making it true for you, if you know people who can eat anything they want and never gain an ounce, think to yourself why that is. If you listen to them, they will proudly boast that they can eat anything they want and stay fit. And that is their reality, because that is the reality they create through their beliefs. Some of these people gain weight later in life because they have always heard things like, when you get older, you gain weight, or after having a baby, you can never shed the extra pounds, and believing what others have said, they make it their reality. If you're going to talk ourselves anyway, we might as well be saying positive things, because whatever we impress upon our subconscious mind will become our experience. In the beginning, throughout my day, instead of thinking that I can't have that, what I want to eat, I say, I only want to eat what's good for me and will allow me to be the best I can. I have found that just a tiny little shift had amazing results. I don't feel deprived. I don't suffer cravings. I don't have the desire to reward myself with some forbidden food because I have managed to lose a couple of pounds. Ever done that? I've dropped 2 of my small meals and I don't miss them. I just don't want or need them. I have dropped the tennis and the swimming and have more time. Later on, when people were asking me if perhaps it was the 2 meals drop that caused the weight loss, ignoring how much of the exercise I had been able to give up, I decided to try using the same technique but changing the words to, I can eat whatever I want and stay my perfect weight, or I can eat anything because I have perfect metabolism. I travel a lot, and in the past I always carried my special food so that I wouldn't gain weight. Now I eat out and I travel, and if I want dessert, I have it too. Instead of my old ways of thinking, this will cause me to gain weight, I tell myself my body is perfect in the way it burns and discards fuel, and this has been the case. This has been so freeing. Since March 28th, 2007, I have dropped to 141 pounds. You're not 141 pounds anymore. And I'm continuing to drop to my desired weight of 135 pounds. What happened, Carole? It didn't take sacrifice and it didn't take more work. In fact, I feel great. All it took was that I wanted to have was the clear image of what it looks like and that belief that it's happening. To receive the body I wanted, all I am doing is keeping my thoughts in harmony, happiness and harmony, with the picture and belief. I constantly remind myself how happy I am to enjoy having a perfect body. I have a few pounds left to get there, but I'm acting as if I already have it, as if I am already there, and being happy and grateful about it. Okay, and you can download the visualization tool she uses every day. Okay, Carole is has a really distorted image of herself. Okay, so now she goes on to go through every aspect of her life and say how everything is perfect because of what she did. From the fur ball, that's the fundraiser party for 500 of their best friends, because everybody has 500 best friends now, right? Come on, don't be silly. You don't have 500 best friends? You are not thinking the right way. And there's something wrong with you, and you better change that thinking, and you could have 500 best friends like Carole. She had to attract, she honestly said this, she had to attract the chocolate fountains. She attracted those chocolate fountains. They always come for free, she said. It's good business for the vendor because we always get so much press, and they're doing a good thing for the cats, so it's a win-win situation. What does she ever give? What does she give to anyone besides her own place? I don't hear anything about her giving back, do you? Yeah, I didn't think so. This year I decided that there are 4 things that really make for a great party. Lots of booze. Oh boy, you're a classy girl. Lots of feel-good chocolate. Lots of great auction items, and 500 people who can afford to buy them. I set my concentration on liquor and chocolate because the elements are always attracted by our wonderful volunteers. Howie has attracted free wine for everyone each year. But this year, I wanted hard liquor, as well as chocolate, in such quantities that it would be the talk of Tampa Bay for years to come. I envisioned a huge sculpture of a chocolate lion. Chocolate fountains flowing all night long, and chocolate on every table. I could see people, liquor in one hand and chocolate dripping from the other, as they laughed and bid high on the great trips we always get. I had spent so much time visualizing on the chocolate that I almost fell out of my chair when Howie walked into my office and asked, "Okay, what have you been visualizing about alcohol?" This is funny because she wants them good and drunk, not just on wine. Get the good liquor so they don't even know how much they're bidding. He had gotten a call from someone who had seen us on TV, and they wanted to donate all of the booze. Who's talks like that? We could possibly consume for the night of the fur ball. They had never even been to the sanctuary, but are distributors for all of the major brands and wanted to help us in any way they could. This led to dinner with them and a tour of the sanctuary. We have made some wonderful new friends, and they're providing an excellent new way for us to make more on our annual event. More money for Carole. I don't know yet where all of the chocolate is coming from, but you can be sure that it is on the way. Then she talks about a white tiger brochure. A woman in Australia had seen a white tiger on display at a zoo, and she felt that something was not quite right about their claims to be saving tigers. Kind of like yours? She went home and found our white tiger page on the internet, and she emailed me, said she was so angry, I wish I could find this lady, that she and her son had been lied to about where white tigers come from, that she wanted to know if I had flyers on the subject that she and her son could hand out at the entrance of the attraction. I didn't, but I knew I could attract one. Of course, she wants to close them down so she can get their white tiger. 2 days later, at my first Law of Attraction meetup in Safety Harbor, I saw a woman across the room, and a little voice said, "Go speak to her." I walked up, that was Howard, and said, "I don't know why, but I know I'm supposed to meet you." In this sort of meetup, that didn't sound as weird as it might here. No, it pretty much does. Peggy Goff had seen my truck with Big Cat Rescue emblazoned on the side. And she said that she had once owned an ad agency. Oh, how about Carole's going to get free brochures now? And had won 20 advertising awards. She said she wanted to help the big cats by donating her services, but didn't know what to do. And I relayed the story about needing a white tiger brochure, and she became quite animated as the white tiger issue is one that is of a particular importance to her. A couple of days later, Peggy had produced not only a fabulous flyer that said all the things that I wanted it to say, but also incorporated a very clever way to make it a fundraising tool. Oh wow, more money for Carole! As well, by including a white tiger tea that encourages people to go out and spread the news about why breeding white tigers is cruel. Only if Carole does it, guys. Additionally, she attracted a printer for the t-shirt project, and in just 1 week, we went from no educational brochures to an internationally distributed brochure and a new fundraising campaign. And you can see their brochure here. Okay, and she hopes you'll buy a t-shirt. As our cats have died over the years, I have preserved the skulls and pelts. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine Carole with the pelts? Oh my gosh, I can imagine her. She probably had them sewn together and she probably sleeps under them. Because one day I dreamed to build a museum dedicated to the history and the exploitation of big cats. I saw our local Holocaust museum. Now she's comparing this to the Holocaust museum. And was so impressed with the way that the artifacts and photos told a story of where we had been so that we will never go there again. Learning more about the secret, I realized that I do not wish to focus on the negative aspects, but rather illustrate the positive change in attitudes using the past as the only reference point. My desire is that people will be so moved by how quickly an entire planet changed its attitudes. What did you do for the planet to change its attitudes? You take money and you let people walk around what you call a sanctuary that's really a zoo with horrible cages, right? And now she's comparing it, now she's going to open a museum that she's comparing to the Holocaust. Okay. She's out of her mind. Okay. I don't know what, she didn't do anything. I've never seen this woman pay it forward one time. My desire is that people will be so moved by how quickly an entire planet has changed, its attitudes towards animals that we will show how powerful our thoughts are and how much more good there is that we can do. Over 15 years, I've had a number of artifacts, remains of old friends, she calls them. Very nice. Stored in boxes. With summer camp coming soon, I wanted to display the belongings of this concept for the children, so I set out to find some light locking cabinets. Let me guess, she gets them donated. The best price I could find for a 4-foot case was $600, and I needed 4 of them to start. I wasn't about to spend that kind of money. Of course not, Carole, because you don't want to spend any money. You just want to roll around in it with Howie, whatever his name is. So I put it out to the universe and said, you know what I'm looking for? And I'm sure you will find it and bring it to me. And then I put the thought out of my head, and within a few days I got a call from one of our supporters who said he had 4 lighted locking cabinets that were still shrink wrapped on pallets that he wasn't going to use, and he'd like to donate them to the cats if we had any use for them. They have now been installed in our Lion's Lair party pavilion, where summer campers will come each day. You think these summer campers, she's letting them in for free because she's giving back? Let the underprivileged kids come through. Where groups from all over will come to have their parties and meetings that Carole will charge an arm and a leg for. Our educational department is working with some of our artistic volunteers to create signage and backdrops. Just one thought, and the belief that it would become a reality has given birth to their museum. Where is God in the secret? Okay, so she goes on that she starts putting some Bible verses just in case. Now she's really covering all the bases, okay? Now she's going to come to the people that are going to say, I don't like this. This doesn't have God in it. So now Carole gets there with God, right? And says that, you know, she says, I think that most people who say they don't want to know anything about the secret because they believe in God just haven't read the book or watched the movie. I live in a constant state of prayer, okay, Carole, and was raised with very fundamental beliefs that the Bible is the Word of God. Really? And you have such a great family, Carole, but you left home at 15. Okay, so I've got to go back to this chat and see what you think. But I mean, if you didn't think she was a shyster, I'm sure you probably would agree now that she is. Okay, what's going on? I missed the chat, so I've got to come back and look. She will be eaten one day, not your friend. Okay, I can't go back in the chat. Just tell me what you think of Carole. Tell me what you think of that charade. Do you think any of that? Carole's got the answers there? Oh my gosh, seltzer just went in my eye. She's full of crap. Yeah, Kimberly. She's nuts, Danielle said. That's why she left home at 15, because she honored her mother and father, just as the Bible prescribed. Correct. Alma. Lovers of money are everywhere indeed, Tico says. Shar says she sure doesn't know her volunteers until they are around for 5. She says, right, she won't even get to know 5 or more years. The place looks like trash. Stupid. She's cray-cray, Muka says. She's delusional, Kristen said. She's a narcissist. She is so special. Slimy money grubber. She's full of it. Phony. She's trash, so full of it. Would she be our friend if we had nothing to offer her? No. She's only friends with people that are financially stable. You miss too much to say, Nacho friend? Please pray for any prayer. I was tested for... Oh, Julie. Oh my gosh, okay. Does he have it? Do they know if he has it, Julie? I keep feeling like I have a hair in my mouth. She must keep visualizing the police are staying far, far away, and there's no jail doors closing in on her. Prayers to your family, Julie, that your dad's okay and that you're okay and you both don't have it and you're all fine. Okay, so let's see what it's so annoying. I'm going to try to restart my Google to see if I can bring up something on the screen. So just hang on with me for a minute. I have to hit my... See, it doesn't even show that I even have Chrome open. That is the weirdest thing ever. Okay. Got seltzer, right? Eyelid. Come on. I can't restart my computer because then I'll lose this whole thing, but I am trying to restart my Chrome. Hopefully now this will work, please. No. I can't even get Task Manager to work right. That's pretty bad then. You can't do that. I think I might just have to try to get out of Chrome. I'll just see if Internet Explorer comes up or whatever the hell it's called. Okay, we'll see if we can just go here. Okay. All right, let's see how this works now. Okay, so here's something else. What is this one? Carole's got so many lies, you can't even believe how many lives the woman has. Let me go to her. Okay, so here's something now. As you probably know, Carole Baskin is the CEO and founder of Big Cat Rescue, and she is one of the individuals leading the charge in the push to ban exotic animals, specifically big cats in the United States. Running people's businesses, livelihood, and attempting to take away their pets has got to make a person a few enemies and cause a tremendous amount of stress. The stress would be further intensified if the said person is lying, spreading misinformation, and manipulating people to meet their goal, knowing at any time they could get caught in their own web of lies. In a recent article posted on Big Cat Rescue's website, Carole detailed an account where she came very close to the possibility of drawing her gun out and ramming her car into a police officer that was monitoring the speed of passing motorists. So this is, I think these are Carole's words now. Yes. As I glanced at the car, I noticed what appeared to be a man pointing a gun at my face, and adrenaline flushed through my veins like a tidal wave. There was an instant of fight or flight where I was struggling to remember if my gun, I have a concealed weapons permit, and I'm a very good shot, I would bet you are, was in this car or not. I was considering evasive action, but was hemmed in by traffic. I considered just broadsiding my assailant, but thankfully thought the better of that. Well, she doesn't sound like she's an out-of-control person. Hold on a second. If she is this on the edge, then maybe we should consider not carrying around a firearm. Things only get stranger the more we dig into Carole's previous writings. According to an archived page, okay, she's got a bunch of archived websites. This one's from another one, from the now defunct Wildlife on Easy Street. That's the one she had with Lewis, right, the husband that's missing. Carole casually wrote about hearing voices in her head that told her what to do. I hear voices. Sometimes it's so loud and authoritative, like in really dangerous situations that I'm sure it's the voice of God himself. It usually seems to be a group effort, and when it says, "Don't blank," I hear my stubborn self say, "Guys, I've done this thousands of times. I'll be fine." She probably heard say, "Don't kill your husband." Okay. Well, what makes you think this time is going to be any different? Oh, come on. I'll be real careful. How am I supposed to get anything done with you guys getting all hysterical every time I try to do something? We hope Carole has received the help she needs since the time of writing that. We have been told that many zoos will not allow anyone with mental problems or anyone that takes certain prescribed drugs to work in close proximity to dangerous animals. So why is Carole allowed to freely roam around with big cats, yet alone a firearm? Eerily enough, 2 grown men have actually filed for protection orders against Carole, and one of those men was her husband, Jack Donald Lewis, who went missing after alleging Carole hid his gun and threatened to kill him. This is the second time Carole has got angry enough to threaten to kill me. When I got back, me and Carole got into a big fuss, and she ordered me out of the house or she would kill me. If I came back, she would kill me. She has the .45 revolver. She took my .357 and hid it. Jake Bacow was the second man to file an order of protection against Carole. He didn't go missing, but he did fear for his life, and with good reason, if what he says is true. Told me she will kick my arse out of there, whatever it takes. I honestly fear I'm in danger of death or serious bodily injury, because her prior husband is missing and presumed dead. And one day she said to me, when I asked her, "What happens if your husband shows up now?" her response was, "Dead body cannot talk." Her former husband's daughter told me, "Carole could be dangerous, and to watch my back. Carole carries 2 guns loaded. Always one in her truck and one in her residence." She said she was a suspect in her former husband's disappearance. Recently, 3 to 4 days ago, she told me human bones were found near Lazy Days RV Center. She said she hopes it's not on her property, or she will be in deep shite. Another interesting piece of information to surface in recent years is the confession of a supposed witness to the signing of Jack Lewis's will and power of attorney. In an exchange that took place through emails, the witness claims to have never seen Mr. Lewis sign either agreement, but said he did because she claimed to have feared retaliation from Carole. With all the evidence publicly available, we can see a rather unsettling picture being painted of the CEO of Big Cat Rescue. She hears voices in her head telling her what to do. She has multiple domestic incidents with her former spouses. 2 grown men have filed for orders of protection against her, and one of those men has disappeared 2 months after Carole allegedly threatened to kill him. A witness to the signing of her missing husband's will and power of attorney admitted that she never saw him sign either one, but perjured herself in court because Carole terrified her. The recent run-in with the cop should be sounding off alarms. In our opinion, she should resign from her position at the Big Cat Rescue. We don't understand why she is still allowed to own a firearm, yet alone operate a multi-million-dollar roadside zoo containing numerous dangerous animals. Can her judgment be trusted? Mm-mm. Oh, and the let me get the other thing, because this is new, that they're looking for help in the cold case. Oh, that's probably going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be able to open my mail from, I can't open my mail from there, but I'll get it over here. Hold on. They want information on this case. Since the Tiger King aired, they said they have They hope they can get new info on their cold case. Sorry, Carol. Okay, so let me see if this is it. Yep. Florida authorities are looking for new leads on missing husband in the Tiger case. Now, hold on, let me see if this will work. With the surprising popularity of Netflix Tiger King docuseries, police are looking for leads in the disappearance of Carole Baskin's husband, Jack Don Lewis, who was last seen on August 18, 1997. And his disappearance is still an active cold case. Hold on 1 second, I just have to get rid of something that's driving me crazy. Okay. So it wasn't letting me save my... It's not letting me save the picture to show them. Or maybe it will be. Now it is. Maybe it is going to now. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Where'd it go? All right, I'm not going to worry about it right now. Multiple people in the documentary have accused Baskin of killing him and then feeding him to her cats at the Big Cat Rescue Sanctuary in Florida. Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Cronister said his department is looking for any leads or information about Lewis's disappearance. Since Netflix and the virus, quarantine has made Tiger King all the rage. I figured it was a good time to ask for new leads, he tweeted alongside a photo asking for help solving the cold case. Baskin has continually denied the allegation she killed her husband, releasing a statement in which she denounced the documentary's portrayal of her. Okay, so he put out, let's see here, a big, here, let me see if I can pull this over. There we go. Okay, can you hopefully see that now? That is what he tweeted there. Only you can help solve the Jack Don Lewis cold case, Sheriff Chad Cronister, right? We're already receiving new tips, and we hope to close this cold case soon with the help of the public. Since the documentary came out, we've been receiving about 6 tips a day related to this case, and we are looking into each one thoroughly. Carol's pacing the floor. Carol, use your imaging. Carol, use your imaging. Nobody has been charged in connection with the disappearance, although he was declared legally dead 5 years after he vanished. Joe Exotics has suggested that Baskin fed Lewis to her tigers, but she has since called that allegation the most ludicrous of all the lies. She added, as Gladys and the daughters did everything they could to make life difficult for me after Don disappeared, they spread this rumor that they thought I had ground Don up and fed him to the cats. And the media loved it. The meat grinder shown in the video was enormous. Our meat grinder was one of those little tabletop hand crank things like you have in your kitchen at home. Fans of the Tiger King launched a petition to get the FBI to reopen the investigation into Lewis's disappearance. It's obvious that Carole did, in fact, murder her millionaire husband and feed his remains to the tiger. The petition read, pointing towards jokes she had made that would indicate she did it. Meanwhile, another petition was started to have Donald Trump pardon Joe Exotic, while a third is asking for the Big Cat Safety Act to be passed in order to stop the private breeding of big cats. Okay? So, let's see, what do you think about that now? You don't have any meat grinders at your house, Mir? Does she have a wood chipper? Did she ever rent a wood chipper? We need some court trials. Debbie D. Can you imagine? Said he was leaving early, exactly the same in both interviews, years apart. Tiny grinders line. Okay, so let's see what else we've got on Carole, because there's so much dirt on Carole that it's scary how much there is. She also had a dispute against that Doc Ansel guy, okay? Then she committed notary fraud with her mother. Her mother notarized all of her stuff, okay? Then we have the other lady that said she never saw the husband sign it. Then there's the big cat fight and rebuttal to Carole's guilty post. Carole did many ignorant and neglectful things with no help from people like this, such as leaving a harness on one of her pet cougars until it buried in his skin, and he ate parts of it in an attempt to relieve himself of the pain, requiring life-saving surgery. Oh, and wait till I show you Carole's website, and all the vets work for free. Still haven't found her YouTube earnings over $1 million. Or Facebook Live. So let's look at some court documents pertaining to the early life of Carole. This wonderful life she had. Okay. Let's get this court document up here and see which one this is. Okay, so this. Now this is, and her daughter's on her website twice, once with her first and middle name, and then the next time with her first and last name. The name of Carole's first husband, last name is Murdoch. Her daughter, her only child, was born to this man. At least we think so, because Carole may have been doing some different kind of work at that time. We don't know for sure, I guess. Allegedly, this is her father. And this here is the final judgment of dissolution of their marriage. Okay, so let's see. And this was on, what date is this? January 9th, 1987. Let's see. This cause came on for final hearing before the court on January 9th, 1987 and March 25th, 1987 on a petition for dissolution of marriage filed by the wife. So she filed for divorce. The court has received evidence from the parties and witnesses and various exhibits and evidence. On the evidence presented, the court finds, from the greater weight of the evidence and indeed the clear and convincing weight of this evidence, that the petitioner, the wife, has been unfaithful to her husband and untruthful with the court in many particulars. Could this have been when she supposedly had a fight with her husband and was walking on the street, a street that's known for ladies of the evening, and got into a car with a man she didn't know, who was Don Lewis, who she might have allegedly killed, and said he disappeared? Probably. To her husband and untruthful with the court in many particulars. So we know there's no question she's a liar. Where are we now? The court is persuaded that the best interest of the child of the marriage requires an award of primary residential care to the husband father. She lost her child. The court decided in 1987 to give the primary custody to the father. You know how rare that was back then? They would have to think the mother was really unfit. That's saying a lot, Carole. That's saying a lot. How come you didn't use your imaging? You think she would have used her imaging for something as important as her daughter. Wow. Okay. Whew. The repeated adulterous, so that really sounds like might be Lady of the Evening, conduct of the wife, bars any favorable consideration of her claim for alimony. That conduct is, in the opinion of the court, the basic and underlying cause of the failure of the marriage. It is therefore ordered and adjudged that the marriage of the parties is irretrievably broken and is hereby dissolved. The parties shall share parental responsibility for the minor child, Jamie Veronica Murdoch, with the husband father having the primary residential care and the wife mother having secondary residential care. The wife shall have reasonable and liberal visitation with the child to be arranged by the parties, and the court will, if necessary, in a post-judgment proceeding, schedule specific visitation. 3. Wife claims for alimony and attorney's fees is denied. I guess she wasn't visualizing really well. The court, I thought she always wins. You are such a liar, Carole. Oh my gosh, you were the biggest liar ever. You've always won since you were 5 years old when you won the cane, but you couldn't win. Probably the most important thing, your daughter. You couldn't win, Carole. Oh my gosh, this lady is... The court reserves jurisdiction to enforce the final judgment as may be necessary, done and ordered in chambers at Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida, on the 27th day of March, 1987. Carole did not win. Okay, we have something else here. This is a very poor copy. Can't see that one. What is this one now? Okay, here we go. So here's something else. Petition for temporary custody of the minor child comes now. The respondent husband, Michael E. Murdoch, by and through his undersigned attorney, Peter L. Zapazito, Esquire, and files this petition for temporary custody of the minor child of the parties during the what is this? I can't read all this. Of the dissolution action, and in support thereof states as follows, that Michael Murdoch is the father of the minor child of the parties, and she is Jamie Veronica Murdoch, date of birth July 16, 1980. Michael Murdoch has physical custody and control of the minor child. As of the below subscribed date, the minor child, Jamie Veronica Murdoch, wishes to remain in the custody of her father at his place of residence during the time of these proceedings. During the time of these proceedings are going on, Michael Murdoch is a fit and proper person to have such temporary custody. It would be in the minor child's best interest. Okay, so he even had the custody while that was going on. It preceded what the final decision, and the father got the custody, and the daughter wanted to be in the father's custody. So here's what the mother subjected her to. It would be detrimental to the child's physical and emotional welfare not to have the father continue to exercise custody of the minor child, since the petitioner, wife, has exhibited by her actions disregard for the child's safety and welfare, and has further subjected this minor child to episodes of sexual misconduct and parental irresponsibility by leaving the minor child of the parties with persons at locations unknown, and further refusing to allow the father any contact with the minor child. The husband prays this honorable court will award him temporary custody of the minor child, Jamie Veronica Murdoch. Okay, so he got it. She's avoiding it. Let's see what else we got here. What is this now? This is just a part of something. It says, with her paternal grandparents, the evidence will be that the wife is a fit and proper person to have the primary, this must be her attorney, residential care of the child, subject to the right of the husband for visitation, and we would request reasonable child support. Mr. Esposito, Your Honor, we filed an answer to the petition for dissolution of the marriage in which we deny that the wife is a fit and proper person to have custody of this child. We also filed a petition for temporary custody of the minor child, which should be in the court file. The petitioner was formally represented by attorney Robert Wingington, and the pleading which were in her behalf are by attorney Wingington. The court subsequently entered an order allowing Mr. Charlton to take over this case. The evidence which we are going to introduce is as follows. The wife should be deprived of custody for moral unfitness. The unfitness is of the type that has a direct bearing on the welfare of this child. This woman is thoroughly lacking in moral understanding. That was good. That was good music. Thank you for whoever became a member. I'll check that out in a sec. Good timing on the music. This woman is incapable of imparting moral principles to her child. The woman indulged, and then the court says, wait a minute, you're making an argument, not an opening statement. Mr. Esposito says, excuse me, Judge, but this is the evidence that we are going to introduce. And the court, those are conclusions. Just tell me what the evidence will be. Mr. Esposito says, we are going to show that she has neglected this child and that she has engaged in sexual behavior under circumstances in which the child could easily notice it. Evidence of sexual adulterous behavior is admissible as long as it's directed to a broad overview of the lifestyle of each parent. We're going to show that the residence of the husband is sufficient and accessible to parks, schools, churches, and hospitals. The evidence will show that Carole Murdoch lacks maturity and inclination to give her daughter the care, attention, and guidance that this child needs. The evidence will further show that the father has been consistent in his duties as a parent and has shown himself ready, willing, and able to care for this child. We need to talk to this man. The evidence will also show that Ms. Murdoch's temperament is unstable. Tell us something we don't know. And is not conducive to proper child care and welfare. Let's see. So now they have someone on the stand, it looks like. And do you remember the questions that I asked you about two of your family friends, Don Lewis and Roy Pearsons? Could you be any more specific? I asked you questions about your relationship with two male gentlemen, Don Lewis, Lewis, and Roy Pearsons. Do you recall the questions I asked you? Oh, so this is Carole. I have been seeing a man by the name of Roy Pearsons since approximately September of this year. How do you spell his name? And she gives it the name, okay? And you've had sexual intercourse with both of these individuals while you were married and living with your husband? And they give the address, right? She says no. They say, you have not had sexual relations with Don Lewis? I had an affair with him. I don't remember the dates. About with Roy? No. Would you be more specific and describe for the court what you mean by an affair with this gentleman? And then Mr. Charlton says, I would object, Your Honor, unless he ties it into having the child exposed to it. Mr. Esposito says, I'm getting there, Judge. The court says, well, proceed. Mr. Esposito said, will you be more... And Carole cuts him off and says, she was never exposed to Don. Would you be more specific as to what you mean by an affair? Did you have sexual intercourse with Don Lewis? Yes, I did. Then the court says, are you objecting on the grounds of tying the child in? Would that be relevant to alimony? Mr. Charlton says it would be relevant to the claim of alimony. The court is correct. And Mr. Esposito says, would you please answer the question? Did you have sexual intercourse with Don Lewis? She says again, yes, I did. And did the sexual intercourse take place during the time that you were married and living with Michael Murdoch at the address, right? She says, not during that period of time, no. And he says, excuse me, but I have not referred to any particular period of time. She says, that would have been in the last 4 years. Have you had sexual intercourse with this gentleman while you were married and living with Michael Murdoch? She says, yes. They ask her, and you were married to Michael Murdoch on April 7th, 1979, right? Oh, she says, right. And they say, and prior to your marriage, in April of 79, were you living in a Datsun pickup truck? Is that correct? I was living with my parents. Liar. You were sleeping in a Datsun pickup truck parked in back of the Zayre's store in Town and Country. Is that correct? And Mr. Charlton says, I would object to relevancy, Your Honor. And the court says, you're talking about prior to 1979. That's too remote. Objection sustained. Mr. Esposito says, okay. Then the question is, now, Mr. Murdoch moved you into his apartment just prior to your marriage in April of 79, correct? Yes. And in April of 79, approximately 6 months. There's a page missing here. It just skips to, she would still be in diapers. And Carole says, I don't remember whether she was toilet trained, but it is possible. And you would go out at night, and Michael would take care of the baby? Yes. Okay. Or she would be with my mother, Carole says. Question is, would Michael bathe the baby at night? Carole says, I have never known him to give her a bath. Well, I take that back. He gave her a bath once that I can recall. Would he feed the baby? Yes. And would he tuck her into bed and read her a story? I don't know. At any rate, she was asleep sometimes, Carole said. Question. He would take care of the child when you were out showing these various properties at night. That's what she was doing, real estate at night. You know, she'd make it convenient for the people that work during the day. She's such a good person. Yes. How you said that you sold 2 houses? Uh-huh. And how much money did you make, if you recall? Oh, I don't recall. Now, like I said, it worked out to be 11 cents an hour when we figured it up. Now during your venture into real estate, you met a gentleman by the name of Don Lewis, did you not? Yes. And would you tell the court how you came upon meeting this gentleman, Don Lewis? Now, remember what she said? Says she met Don Lewis? Now, again, she lies. I met him through the real estate dealings that I did, and Mike had been very hard to live with. I needed somebody that I could confide in and feel close to. Now, this was approximately 2 years after your marriage, was it not? Approximately, Carole says. And you have testified that you have had sexual intercourse with Don Lewis, correct? Yes. So if it was 2 years when you met Don Lewis, then it's fair to say that you have known Don Lewis for 5 years as of today's date. I know of him 5 years ago, yes. Okay. I have not seen him, she says. Mike followed me on a regular basis. Excuse me? Excuse me? Please respond to my question. Now, that type of work... Now, what type of work does Don Lewis do? It's hard to see because the printing is not there. He does a lot of real estate investments. Question. He's a mortgage broker? He does that, yeah. How, during the time when you became acquainted with Don Lewis, did you tell your husband that Don Lewis was a woman by the name of Ann? That's Ann, his business partner. No. From the time that you met Don Lewis, how long was it before you had sexual intercourse with him? Oh, I don't know. You met him, then she says 6 months. 6 months later? It's been a long time ago. I really don't remember the exact time, the first night. Through your real estate dealings, did you continue to keep company with Don Lewis and continue to have sexual intercourse with him on a regular basis? After I got out of real estate? Yes. No. Well, when you got out of real estate, from the time that you graduated, when did you first meet Mr. Lewis? Oh, it would have been after I graduated. I don't know. It was a couple of months. And then approximately 6 months after you met Don Lewis, you began to have sexual relations with him? Approximately. And the sexual relations, the sexual episodes, they took place how many times a week? Now we're getting into Mark Seaver's territory. Maybe once a week? Wouldn't it be funny, the 6 degrees of separation, if we found out she was doing something with Mark? That would be weird, right? Once a week, and they continued for 5 years? No. When did you last have sexual intercourse with Don Lewis? It was around Christmas, and Mike had followed me up to his lodge, where I was going up there to meet him for lunch. Is this Christmas of 1986? No, this was Christmas of 1985. Oh, no. She says, no, this was, and he says, oh, Christmas of 1985. She says, no. It would have been like 83. It was 82 or... Hold on, that's the end of that one. Now, wait a minute. Let's see. Hopefully we have another continuation. Can't leave us like that. Okay, 83. My question was, when... Here, maybe I should do this. You can read along, and I'll make this larger, and then I can look at the chat maybe if I can see it on the screen. Okay, let me see now. Okay, let's see now. Oh, I have to go to regular YouTube. Where are you going, Alma? You're going to investigate someone? Okay. So, where were we? My question was, can you guys see that? Because I can't see the screen. Can you see that? Can someone just say, yes, I can see it? Can someone say you can see it? Anybody can hear me? And can you just tell me if you can see what's on the screen? Anyone? Okay, good. Wow, that was a long time coming. Okay, thank you. It's good. It's good. Okay. My question was, when did you last have sexual intercourse with Don Lewis? That was it. Mike followed me down there, and he followed, what does that say? He followed us down there, and we decided that we would try to work it out, and it has just not worked out. Now, you traveled to the state of Ohio one weekend with Don Lewis, did you not? No. I have never been out of the state with him. Were you in the Keys with Don Lewis or the Bahamas with Don Lewis? No. Did you ever go away with Don Lewis for a weekend? No. Now, your husband bought you a cat a couple of years ago after your cat died, I believe. His name was Pearlie? The one that died was, yes. And you had Pearlie for 15 years? 13 years. And Michael thought it would be a good idea to buy some more cats and give you something to occupy your time with rather than to spend it with Don Lewis. Okay. See, and then they cut us off at that point, so now we're here. Did you not receive the papers from your attorney? All I got were the registration papers. He kept everything else, and the court ordered him to return all of those pedigrees and everything where I had everything it should be everyone, I think, that I sold cats to, and I cannot contact any of them. Isn't it true that all of the certificates were returned to you? They were not. The only thing that he returned were the registrations. And he held on to them so long that I had to give away the cats. The ones that did not die because I could not take care of them. Oh my gosh. So this cat lover, these cats were dying? It's great, Carole. Well, yeah, it'd be different if she reformed. Okay. If you want to take a break, we can. The court says no. Go on, please. I don't want you to drag this out because Mike told me he would drag this out for the rest of my life. That's Carole being dramatic. Excuse me, would you please instruct the witness to be responsive to the questions? Court, yes. The witness, I'm sorry. Court, she's been responsive. Mr. Esposito, how about a year ago you met a gentleman by the name of Roy Persons, isn't that correct? I met him in September of this year. Mr. Charlton says, by that you mean 86? The witness, yeah, you're right. And Mr. Persons owns the Discovery and Massage Salon, does he not? Oh my goodness, this is not looking good for Carole. It's the Discovery Institute. It's a psychological firm. They have a license, certified massage therapist that does work in his building and pays him rent on a regular basis. Isn't it true that you become involved with Mr. Persons and in fact you are now living with Mr. Persons, or you have spent time at his house overnight with your child recently? That's wrong. I have spent nights with him when Jamie was spending the night with her father. Aside from that, I've been living out where I have always lived. Jamie has never been exposed to him. Now I direct your attention again to the testimony that you gave before Judge Miller on October 10th, 1986. That's my sister's birthday. I'm going to object to that form of question. If he has it typed up, fine. It is not a memory contest. The court says you do not have to have it typed up to ask her an impeaching question. And Mr. Esposito says, do you recall the question that I asked you on October 10th before Judge Miller, in which I asked you, has Jamie ever spent the night with you at Mr. Persons' home? And you answered in the affirmative that she did, but she never saw you in bed together. Do you recall that? She's never spent the night there. So you're telling the court today that she's never been to Mr. Persons' house? She's been to his house during the day when I pick her up after school. We've been over there while he's at work, but she's never been exposed to him. Has she ever met Mr. Persons? No. Did she meet Mr. Persons' parents? No. Did you tell Michael this past your husband, over this past holiday, that you needed to pick Jamie up early because Mr. Persons' parents wanted to meet her and he wanted to get some pictures taken? I wanted to get some pictures made. I had a coupon at Olin Mills. Oh my gosh, Olin Mills. Pictures made of who? Jamie. Just Jamie? Jamie and me. Jamie and you and Mr. Persons? No. Did Mr. Persons have a son named Scott? Yes. And have you hidden Scott in the car when you would go pick up Jamie so that Mr. Murdoch would not see the child? No. And is your testimony that you are not living with Mr. Persons now? No, I'm not. And you do not spend the night with him? Only when he has Jamie. Okay. Is Mr. Persons a licensed physician? He's a licensed psychologist. What does he do? Look at that. He's a marriage counselor. When did you first have sexual relations with Mr. Persons? Shortly after meeting him. And when you say you met him in September? Yes. And you say that you did not know him in August? Now that overlaps with the time when you were pursuing your real estate venture, does it not? I had to. I was not making it in real estate. Why, Carole? You win all the time. Everything you touch turns to gold. Carole, you are a liar. So you had a 10-month-old baby and you were working real estate? And you were working at Tampa Bay Boat Mart, is that correct? Yes. And then you met Don Lewis and you had a relationship with Don Lewis. You also had a relationship, did you not, with someone at the Tampa Bay Boat Mart? I did not. Did you say to Mike in a bragging sort of way that you were going to bed with someone at the Boat Mart and that he was paying you $300 to $500 a month? No. Now, when you embarked on all of these ventures, real estate and the cat shows, little Jamie stayed at home with her father, did she not? Any time I was at a cat show, she was with my mother and father. When you went out at night to sell real estate, I'm sorry, I just thought of something so bad. I can't say it. Okay, when you went at night to sell real estate, you have testified that she was with her father? Yes. I never did. Oh my gosh, this is too much. How did this guy keep a straight face? How did this guy keep a straight face? You have never done cat shows at night? Oh my gosh, I have so much I could say right now, but I can't. Who washed the clothes in the home, in the house? Now we jump to, that was the Christmas of 83, I think 82 or 83, when you were having these sexual encounters with Mr. Lewis. Did you and your husband make love? We always have, yes. Isn't it a fact that Michael could always tell when you were having a relationship with Mr. Lewis because you refused to have sex with him? I've never refused to have sex with Mike. He was always accusing me of having sexual relations with anybody, everybody. Now with regard to Mr. Persons. Persons. Has Jamie ever seen Mr. Persons in his shorts? No. And your testimony is that she's never seen you and Mr. Persons in bed together? I have told you that several times. Ms. Murdoch, you testified that you go to church? Yes. Okay. Citrus Park Church of Christ? Citrus Park Baptist Church? No. Oh my goodness. Hold on. We've got to have something more. Hold on. This is too much. I could have said so much, but the real estate she was selling in the cat shows at night. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Please don't be the end of that. Oh, we have some more. Oh, thankfully. Let's see. Is this going to be testimony? Let's see. What is this? Petition for the temporary custody. Is this the same? Let me see. This looks like the same. Hold on, so they put this in here twice. 6 months later, I really don't know. It's been a long time. This is the other stuff. Hold on, I think. Dang. Oh, that might be the end of that one. Okay, let's see what else we have on Carole. All we see is more and more proof that Carole is an absolute liar and doesn't have morals. Okay. Let's go back. The early life of Carole. Let's see what this is. Carole Baskin always seems to use public apologies as a way to gain sympathy while pretending that she owned up to mistakes. If it wasn't for people holding her accountable for her past atrocities, Carole would most likely have never admitted to any wrongdoing. Other times, Carole will admit to lesser mistakes in what seems to be a blatant attempt at fooling the public into thinking she has changed her ways, when in reality, she is just trying to hide something much worse. Case in point, the article she wrote regarding the guilt of her past, her numerous omitted key details, which we'll fill you in on. Carole begins her article by mentioning a now-deceased tiger she possessed called Aurora. In 1986, at 4 weeks of age, Aurora was the third tiger to come to the Wildlife on Easy Street. She died of cancer in 2008, and it has taken me this long to be able to talk about her again. According to inventory sheets from when Big Cat Rescue was operating on Wildlife on Easy Street, Aurora was purchased for $1,800 when she was only a few weeks old. We had been told that $1,800 was expensive for a tiger back then, which leads us to believe that Aurora must have been a high-quality cub. Continuing further down the article, Carole appears to be lessening the severity of her wrongdoings by attempting to pass them off. Ignorance, in our opinion, that's a clear example of her not actually owning up to her past. I think it's because of the guilt I've carried for some time for some of the ignorant things I did all those years ago. I say ignorant because I didn't see the big picture yet. Jeff was telling me about some tour guests this week, and that kind of reminded me of that time. They loved big cats, and they were all a blather about how much they enjoyed petting them at some other facility. People like this are people like I was, who have been misled and lied to, and they haven't figured yet out that all those things that they think are so cool are the reason that big cats languish in cages all over the country, like in your backyard. Anyway, we have a hard time believing that lies and misleading information influenced Carole into leaving a harness on a cougar until it required life-saving surgery. What were the lies that led her to convert her facility into a bed and breakfast where tourists could sleep unsupervised with cubs, many declawed, in rented-out cabins? Was she misled and lied to when she recently launched a program where tourists can pay to volunteer for... See? Pay to volunteer. You were right. You were right there. Pay to volunteer for a week in which they have the possibility of touching a cat while it's sedated for a medical procedure. So, for those of you that have participated in animal encounters, don't let Carole fool you into believing you're anywhere close to being on the same level as her past self. She says, they have an enormous passion for animals and just don't know how their actions are causing harm. Once they know better, they are the most persistent of voices for the animals, and maybe it has something to do with the guilt. Maybe it has something to do with lies their followers and tour guests are told. Many people think all of the cats at Big Cat Rescue were rescued from abusive situations. Pet owners that got more than what they bargained for, or failed roadside zoos. The truth is that many of the cats they have exhibited were actually purchased from breeders, auctions, or were born at their facility. The news reported, there was a Bay9 news report that shed light onto what we're talking about. Okay, and so let's listen to this.
We heard a big cat rescue in Citrus Park. Heard its founder talk about the abused and unwanted cats that she saved.
But former volunteers say there's more that you should know. And now they're talking publicly for the first time to Bay News 9's Chris Hawes about what they say is the rest of the story. Chris.
Well, Alan Lee, as you know, it's Big Cat's mission to make you care about animals. If you visit their website, the first page tells you they're providing a home to, quote, abused and abandoned cats. But former volunteers say what you may not know is many of the cats living there weren't in need of being rescued. They were bought from breeders to be bred. For nearly 3 weeks, we've talked to breeders, sellers, and former volunteers and combed through hundreds of pages of documents to find the real story. Here's what we learned. Big Cat rescues home to nearly 150 cats, but many of the cats were not rescued. In fact, at least 30 of the cats were actually born right there at the facility. You can see some of them here in this home video. Former volunteers tell us other stories are, at best, exaggerated.
If it's not a rescue, it shouldn't be tagged as a rescue.
Jim Moore volunteered for nearly 5 years at Big Cat Rescue, even at one point living on the property. But now he and others intimately familiar with Big Cat Rescue say it's time they spoke publicly to set the record straight about the nonprofit and its founder.
She wanted to one day have the largest private collection of exotic cats in the world.
They point to examples like Fluffy the Serval as one of many possibly misleading stories on the website. The website says many of Big Cat Rescue's servals were purchased at auctions where uncaring owners dumped them. And then halfway down the page it says Fluffy, quote, came as a result of the pet trade. We tracked down Fluffy's seller, who told us how she raised the serval on baby food and would have only sold her to a good home.
She was sold as a pet and possible breeder.
We also found the former owner of this cat, described on the website as coming to Big Cat Rescue after a pet shop owner was afraid she would bite children who taunted her. The pet shop owner says she parted with the serval because she was paid $1,000. One of the most convincing pieces of evidence for many of Baskin's critics is this video. It's of tiger cub Shere Khan. If you believe Big Cat Rescue's website, he was, quote, unwanted and uncared for, and, quote, could not walk. But listen to the story Big Cat Rescue's founder told shortly after getting him.
This is Shere Khan. He was bottle raised in a loving and nurturing home.
I want to see a normal tiger cub.
Liar.
There is one person that knows 100% of what the truth is about Big Cat Rescue. That's founder Carole Baskin. We sat down with her to discuss the allegations. Do you think there's a perception out there that the majority of cats here came out of abusive situations?
I think so.
Baskin stood by her website story of Shere Khan's abuse, despite the video of Shere Khan showing the cub standing on his hind legs.
He could lift himself, but just barely.
But the tiger is only one of the stories that former volunteers point to. They're also troubled by claims many animals on the site, including these leopards, were born into the pet trade. But here's what the website does not say.
And the majority of the animals that are listed on the website where it says born into the pet trade were actually born there.
That's because back prior to 1997, that's what we were. We were pet owners. We were the pet trade.
And that's one of the few points where Baskin and her critics agree. Carole Baskin and her husband sold,
We went through a whole range of beliefs.
and bred cats.
He was set on breeding
Blame it on
virtually every
him.
cat here.
Baskin
True
says she's
narcissist.
upfront about that history. The extent of that breeding, however, is described nowhere on the site. And we did find one statement that said no exotic cats have been bred there since 1997. Volunteers who worked there, however, say that's simply not true.
There were some binturons born.
Binturons are more commonly known as bear cats. Former volunteer Jim Moore says he believes the bear cats' births were no accident.
Was that purposeful?
Yes.
This mid-1998 newsletter announces the imminent birth of Caracals, a medium-sized exotic cat with large pointed ears. We showed Baskin the newsletter.
You got me on that. I don't know.
I understand.
It's not in the list of cats that we currently have.
The list, Baskin says, shows she's telling the truth about the animals here at Big Cat Rescue, and that they're now in better homes than they once were. But she does not want us to copy or videotape the list, for fear her opponents will, in her words,
Use the portions that they can zero in on.
Of course, that's what's already happening with other records that have leaked out. Al and Lee?
Okay, so more evidence that Carole is a liar. Okay, so Carole would also take her cats out to meet the public, and like we've already mentioned, she's forced her cats to sleep with visitors in a cabin, as well as lease them out for magazine photo shoots. Read Jumanji's earlier biography, and you will see where she mentions taking the cats out to meet the public. Don was telling them about several kittens we had, and again, back then, we had been told that servals didn't breed well in zoos, and that their only chance for survival was in being bred by the private sector. We later learned that was a lie, and none of the cats bred by the private sector could ever be part of any conservation breeding program. The owners of Predators Plus said they had always wanted an exotic cat that they could keep inside as a pet, and tigers outgrew that role by the time they were just a few months old. And then she says, in 1996, my late husband Don and I went to a place called Predators Plus. They were in the edutainment business, and they used to take tigers to schools, fairs, and parking lots. At that time, they were the most professional-looking outfit we had ever seen. They had fancy trailers and transport cages that would still make us drool for use around here, and of course magnificent-looking tigers. But those were just the ones they showed. Why couldn't she dream those into existence? Because she always wins and she can make anything happen. Are we really going to believe she was being lied to about breeding cats in captivity? If she only believed in conservation through breeding cats in captivity, why did she purchase so many Bengals? Bengals certainly weren't endangered, and they aren't found in the wild since they're hybrid domestic cats. Furthermore, Carole Baskin apparently doesn't believe in breeding programs such as Species Survival Plan as evidenced in her 20-year plan. She said they had a litter of tiger cubs and one that they couldn't use because she was lame and cross-eyed, and asked if we would trade her for a serval kitten. If you knew of Aurora, you knew that she was cross-eyed and lame and had some serious mental issues as well. But that just made her all the more adorable to those of us who love her. She typified a throwaway tiger, as that would have been her fate, because she was so small she wouldn't have been a tiger that any breeder would have kept around. So she had to keep it right, because to use as a cub mill, and because she was white, she wasn't white, none of the breeders, dealers, or animal exploiters would want her. Aurora wasn't just traded for, she was purchased, as we already pointed out. According to Aurora's former owner, Aurora was not cross-eyed or inbred. The former owner had also said that Aurora lasted a lot longer than the serval I traded her for, plus I gave her money. Oh well, Carole does like to tell a story. And then Carole says, often cubs like her who proved to be imperfect are drowned or incinerated, so there's no doubt that Aurora was rescued. But here is where the guilt sets in. I enabled the trade by giving them an outlet for getting rid of a tiger cub they didn't want, and I sent a serval into a pet home. I don't know whatever became of the serval, and I haven't been able to track down this outfit. Back then, we believed that some of the smaller cats could be good pets and should be bred to protect their numbers, and believing that bred and sold a small number of smaller cats. Is there any actual proof that cubs are drowned or incinerated? Could it be that Carole is just trying to justify the purchase of Aurora and the fact that she traded one of her servals to these people? If she thought these terrible people would drown or incinerate cubs, why on earth would she give them one of hers? More likely, this is just one of Carole's wild, self-serving stories. When she said that one tiger that she said it couldn't walk, I thought she was going to reuse the story about how she couldn't walk and the tiger pulled itself along on its arms. She is a liar. I mean, this woman is a pathological liar. What is a small number? Carole was a prolific breeder, and we were told that she would sell sick cubs to the surprise of people that purchased from her. She claims that she provided Predators Plus with an outlet for getting rid of a cat, but couldn't the same be said about her? Isn't it possible that the owners of the tiger provided Carole an outlet for getting rid of a serval she didn't want? According to Aurora's former owner, the serval didn't last long, whereas Aurora did. So, who sold or traded an inferior cub? And if Carole only believed in breeding her animals for conservation, why would she sell her cubs to be someone else's pet? Carole says, in my own defense, I took back every cat who didn't work out. So some of the cats at Big Cat Rescue were born here, sold as pets, and then came back when they grew up and began to spray and bite. It was when the servals and the bobcats began to come back that I came to realize that people were just not willing to make a lifetime commitment to the cats. When I lost Don, lost him? In 1997, we stopped both breeding and selling and began frantically building new cages to separate cats and neutering and spaying them as fast as funds would allow. When she lost Don, Carole is suspected of being involved in his disappearance. Jack Donald Lewis wanted a divorce, and he disappeared after filing for a protection order against Carole. According to the document, Don alleged that Carole had hid his gun and threatened to kill him. Carole continued to breed cats until 2001, 4 years after he disappeared. Yeah, even though she said it was all because of him. Carole was the one who forced her cats to spend the nights with tourists and rented out cabins, and she also kept declawing her cats until 2005. Yet still, even with coming to face my own ignorance and all of the work that we have done here to educate the public about why they shouldn't pay to play with cubs and why they shouldn't pay to see tigers in performing acts or pay to see the latest cub at the zoo or go to movies that use big cats as props, I still carry a tremendous load of guilt for having had any part in the trade. It is only now that I'm starting to see real change taking place that I can speak about Aurora, because I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yet now it's okay to give her money to walk around her sanctuary zoo. Carole was forced to write articles confessing to her guilt after she has been constantly exposed for misrepresenting the cats that she purchased and passes off as rescues. Paying to see big cats perform is bad, but paying to see big cats in cages at a facility is good. Why is one form of exploitation more acceptable than the other? Exploitation is exploitation. That is why she came here from Ohio, and when she saw what big cat rescuers were doing in educating the public and getting them to sign the letters in the gift shop, more money for Carole, and sending them to catlaws.com site, she knew that she had found her calling. One of the things that helps our cause is engaging people in conversation about white tigers, circus cats, zoos, and the exotic pet trade. We do that well with people who come to us, but we need to take this conversation to where it is happening. Regarding circuses, many tigers were retired to their facility by Ringling Brothers, who paid for the retired cats' food and the construction of their cages. Of course, Carole's not going to do a darn thing. Using Carole's logic, wasn't she enabling the circus to continue to use big cats by providing them an outlet to get rid of a cat that's no longer usable for performances? As for zoos, Carole actually tried to become accredited by the AZA, but was turned down after failing to meet all the requirements. Potter! Zoos have more requirements than her sanctuary. I asked her to sign up for Google Alerts. Okay, so she's saying this now. I asked her to sign up for Google Alerts on keywords like tigers, circus, fur, etc., and then log to each article and post comments about what people can do to end the trade and suffering. This brings me back to the light at the end of the tunnel. As I read these posts online, I see the trends shifting and see more people opposing the abuse. We are reaching critical mass in the way people are thinking about wildcats and the way they are treating them. It takes a long time, and many of you have been especially helpful in this arena. Big Cat Rescue was previously offering people money. Doesn't this sound like YouTube? To post comments, same as on YouTube, buying comments, favoring their philosophy in the comment section of articles on popular blogs. They even offered cash if someone managed to link to their website using the Big Cat Rescue name or an alias. How many of these people leaving posts were paid to do so or were just misled by Big Cat Rescue's lies? When they do it, we'll stop all of the backyard breeders of tigers. The wrong has nearly been set right, this is Carole talking. When that happens, Aurora and all of the other tigers who have passed can truly rest in peace. We are getting so close to the finish line. And it's because we're all working together, overlooking each other's shortcomings and focusing on each other's strengths so that we can end the trade once and for all. Again, read her 20-year plan. She wants all facilities housing and breeding big cats to close down, including accredited zoos that she couldn't be, that participate in the species survival plan. In that plan, she predicts that the plight of wildcats will be a lost cause. Wouldn't many cats go extinct if there are no viable populations of wildcats left, and if there is no breeding programs keeping them alive in captivity? Carole wants you to overlook her shortcomings and forget her immoral, unethical past, but as you can see, she continues to misrepresent herself and suppress the truth even today. If you believe in her cause, then support it, but do not support the lies and turn a blind eye to any wrongdoings. Okay, let's see. Now let's see about. So these are some things. On July 4th, 2019, another serval was found with a broken leg, similar to a previous incident. Big Cat Rescue doesn't know how the injury occurred. On October 8th, 2017, a 17-year-old female tiger almost drowns in a pond. While horrified volunteers watch, the tiger's mate, a male lion, had to be sedated in order to try to save the drowning tiger. During a Facebook live stream on August 4th, 2017, the president of Big Cat Rescue was filmed using some sort of stick to prod a 4-month-old bobcat kitten. November 17th, 2016, during a Facebook live stream, one of Big Cat's rescue workers tried forcing a tiger out of a transport cage by poking at it using a prod of some kind. The camera would occasionally pan away from the tiger each time the worker had the prod in hand. The tiger could be heard clearly displaying its anger off camera, but some of the prodding was caught on video, and many worried fans of Big Cat Rescue commented their disapproval and suggested to leave the tiger in the transport cage until it was ready to get out on its own. September 9th, 2016, a serval was found with a broken leg inside its cage. Big Cat Rescue claims not to know what caused the injury. While undergoing medical treatment, staff members began creating paw paintings. Oh, they do paw paintings, and they sell those too. That's not exploiting the tigers, right? Having them paint with their paws and then they sell their stuff. Because Carole needs more money for more cat prints. While undergoing medical treatment, staff members began creating paw paintings using the legs of the serval that weren't broken. That's what they do. They paint with the animal's paws. That's not exploiting them, huh, Carole? No. August 15th, 2016, Big Cat orchestrated a call to action on a restaurant called the Paramount Grill after learning that they may allow their customers to pet kittens to raise money to help in the transport of a rescued rhino. According to the Gainesville Sun, some of the Big Cat Rescue supporters ended up threatening the restaurant owner and his employees by sending them death threats and bomb threats. Nice. You belong here on YouTube, Carole. You're in good company. Buying comments, death threats, bomb threats, you're good. July 15th, 2016, Big Cat Rescue offers a new program called Volunteer Vacations, where tourists can pay thousands of dollars to volunteer for a week. In the page detailing the program, Big Cat Rescue says you absolutely cannot touch the cats unless it just so happens that one is sedated for medical procedures that week. A volunteer is possibly bitten by a cougar on February 23rd of 2016. One of Big Cat's rescue volunteers originally reported that she had been bitten by a cougar, but later changed the story, claiming that she was injured by a sharp point on the enclosure housing the cougar. Well, that's probably because they finally gave her some money to say what they wanted, but she probably also got on the sharp, those cages were rusted and coming apart. Yeah. December 6, 2014, Big Cat Rescue admits that they were declawing their cats until 2005, years after, where's Potter? Years after they had already transitioned their business away from wildlife on Easy Street. They tried blaming their actions on breeders and dealers, even though Carole Baskin wrote a book explaining how she would never declaw a domestic cat, but recommends declawing exotic cats. In her book, Carole says, the reasons for declawing are endless, and the excuses for not doing so are not justified. And she had a cat care book that said that she sold. December 5th, 2014, a sand cat, a species that weighs between 3 and 8 pounds, choked to death on a chicken neck. Volunteers were forced to watch the cat slowly die as they waited on Carole Baskin and her daughter to arrive on scene. On their website, Big Cat Rescue says our policies don't allow anyone to rush in with Canyon without Jamie or Carole present, because no one would have known that he was choking rather than having a seizure until they had their fingers in his mouth. November 17, 2014, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission Division Law Enforcement conducts that unannounced inspection of Big Cat Rescue, found more than 70 discrepancies, such as failing to maintain rusty enclosures, filthy water bowls for the cats, and improper record keeping. But no, Joe Exotics was just taking the smaller cages. And they're showing the rusty cages that we saw when we went on our trip last night. They're showing the dirty water bowls. So they said, Closure 73, clean and treat or replace feed and water box due to corrosion, clean and treat support bowl, remove roof debris, among other things. October 2nd, 2014, Big Cat Rescue is issued a warning from the Florida Fish and Wildlife for housing leopards in an open-top enclosure. There is evidence that Big Cat Rescue housed multiple leopards in an open-top enclosure on numerous occasions, despite being aware of the law against it. 2014 again, it was discovered that Big Cat Rescue had an ad on their website detailing how they will pay people to leave comments on articles. Yeah, you belong on YouTube. Shortly after numerous people discovered that ad, Big Cat Rescue removed it. September 30th, 2011, Mike Deason of 10 News conducts an investigation into Big Cat Rescue. March 15th, 2011, Action News investigates Big Cat Rescue's controversial practice of feeding live domesticated rabbits to their bobcats. Rabbit rescue groups urged Big Cat Rescue to find an alternative practice, since domesticated rabbits don't behave like the rabbits found in the wild. 2010. Howard Baskin appears to have paid to pet and have his picture taken with a lion cub from Dade City's Wild Things. A critic was added to Big Cat's Rescue Animal Abuse website after visiting the same facility. So, if we apply the same standards, does that mean Howard Baskin is an animal abuser? 2007, in a Fox News report, workers were filmed violently yanking a tiger by its neck using what appeared to be a rope. The operation was overseen by Big Cat Rescue. When asked if the move was stressful to watch, one Big Cat Rescue worker responded by saying, "But it worked." With the testimony from former volunteers, Bay 9 conducts an investigation into the dishonest fundraising practices of Big Cat Rescue. Let's see this one.
We heard at Big Cat Rescue in Citrus Park, heard its founder talk about the abused and unwanted cats that she saved.
But former volunteers say there's more that you should know. And now they're talking publicly for the first time to Bay News 9's Chris Saws about what they say is the rest of the story. Chris.
Well, Alan Lee, as you know, it's Big Cat's mission to make you care about animals. If you visit their website, the first page tells you they're providing a home to, quote, abused and abandoned cats. But former volunteers say what you may not know is many of the cats living there weren't in need of being rescued. They were bought from breeders to be bred. For nearly 3 weeks, we've talked to breeders, sellers, and former volunteers and combed through hundreds of pages of documents to find the real story. Here's what we learned. Big Cat Rescue's home to nearly 150 cats, but many of the cats were not rescued. In fact, at least 30 of the cats were actually born right there at the facility. You can see some of them here in this home video. Former volunteers tell us other stories are, at best, exaggerated.
If it's not a rescue,
Oh, wait, we saw this one.
Despite the video of Shere Khan showing the cub standing on his hind legs.
This one we
He
saw.
could lift
Hold on.
himself, but just barely.
It said fundraiser. That wasn't about a fundraiser. Let's see this one.
Facility known as Savage Kingdom in Sumter County, Florida. Even those faces tied here at the Tampa Sanctuary, they took them in.
This situation was very dire just because it was essentially life or death, especially right today. So we've kind of shuffled around a little bit, and unfortunately we've had a few deaths lately. So we have
Big Cat Rescue.
cage space, which
Few
won't be
deaths.
the permanent homes for these guys, but at least temporarily it'll be someplace where we can stake them until we can raise the money to build them a larger enclosure and give them a good habitat.
And it's going to be rather expensive, too. About $30,000 a year just to house and feed these 4 tigers.
What would you do?
Okay, so yeah, Carol needs $30,000 a year to build a habitat for the 4 tigers right there. So with the testimony from former volunteers, that was the investigation there. Where were we? 2006, there were emergency instructions for staff members printed on the Big Cat Rescue website under the heading for what to do if a tour member, because she doesn't want to pay anybody to do the website, so she has amateurs doing it. So stuff that's supposed to be on hidden pages is public, and people are seeing it because she's a crazy head. Anyway, so they posted something on there about what to do if a tour member is bitten by a cat. The last instructions say, have the person sign a release form and give them compensation to make it legal. This must be done immediately before outside influence encourages them to sue. January 21st, 1999. Volunteer is bitten by an ocelot while walking by a cage and filed a lawsuit. The volunteer claimed that Wildlife on Easy Street failed to properly train, manage, and supervise volunteers. Of course not. That would be money. A cougar named Fleetwood in 1998 almost dies due to eating a harness Carole Baskin had purposely left on it. The cougar's intestines were laced and permeated with purple nylon and ruptured where the harness buckle burst through the intestine wall, causing massive internal bleeding. That's lovely. Otter? 1998. Dateline releases a video featuring a bed and breakfast where tourists can rent a cabin to sleep with an exotic cat. The exploitative roadside attraction was run by Wildlife on Easy Street, Big Cat Rescue. September 15, 1998. A woman named Leah Dixon required hospital treatment after being attacked by a cougar, which nearly scalped her. By this time, Carol had learned to have victims sign a release. We have a copy of the release signed by Leah Dixon. September 10, 1998, the U.S. Department of Agriculture charged Carol Lewis, doing business at Wildlife on Easy Street, with violations of the Animal Welfare Act. Inspectors found that Carol failed to maintain compatible groups of animals in the same enclosure, handle animals in a manner that prevented physical harm, maintain structural sound housing facilities for dogs, clean water receptacles, clean the premises and keep it free of accumulations of trash, maintain complete records on the premises showing the acquisition, disposition, and identification of animals, provide a suitable method for the rapid elimination of water from outdoor housing facilities, clean primary enclosures as required, store supplies of food in an adequate manner, and maintain a sufficient distance or barrier between the animals and the viewing public. September 2nd, 1998, a volunteer needed 451 stitches after being mauled by a leopard. The attack resulted in the leopard removing the volunteer's skin from her elbow to her wrist. December 3rd, 1997. A man is severely bitten on his left forearm by a South American cougar and files a lawsuit. 1996. The World Society for the Protection of Animals hired British veterinarian John Gripper to visit 21 facilities in Florida for their investigative report, and one of the places he visited was Wildlife on Easy Street. The report claimed that most of the cats at Wildlife on Easy Street were kept in barren cages. This is stuff we just saw it ourselves, right? Without any environmental enrichment. Yeah, no, she gave them tree roots. Don't forget that. She gave them tree roots. 2 cougars escaped in August of 1996 from their cages at Wildlife on Easy Street. According to Tampa Bay Times, one of the escaped cougars was caught within an hour, while the second cougar was captured more than 12 hours later on the perimeter fence surrounding the roadside zoo. June 5th, 1996, in a letter praising some sort of ointment, Carole Baskin details the many human and animal injuries that have occurred at her facility. One incident is written as followed. A 200-pound leopard leaped 24 feet and was caught in midair by my husband, Don Lewis. The cat was smiling and had his mouth wide open as he flew through the air. As he landed, his canine tooth caught on Don's neck. She was probably trying to kill him then. That was an idea. That was right. The weight and impact caused the tooth to slice deeply across my husband's throat. The gash was so bad we thought surely his head would fall off. But Don, typical to his nature, refused to see a doctor. She was probably trying to kill him then. Just put him in the cage. They'll chop his head. I can't believe his head didn't fall off. August of 1994. I'm surprised she didn't do that. I'm surprised she didn't have somebody lock him in a cage until he was killed and then get up and say, what would have made him? Now she's probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's what I should have done. Too late, Carol. Okay, where were we? August of 94. 2 leopards are seized due to improper permits. Now let's look at. Okay, here's the finances. In stark contrast to the amount of money they make annually, the amount of animals in Big Cat's rescue collection continues to plummet with each passing year. The number of exotic cats they currently have in their possession pales in comparison to the once great assortment of cats they had only a few years ago. With such a sharp decline of cats, we can't help but wonder how much of their revenue is actually spent on animal care. While we may not know how much money is actually going towards the animals, we do have insight as to what makes up the animal care expenses. In an article apparently created to smear their detractors, Big Cat Rescue admits that animal care includes the cost of food, veterinarian care, and cage maintenance, but they don't pay for veterinarian care. Due to the cost of educational programs being combined with the cost of animal care, the actual cost of caring for their cats remains a mystery. Do you know why it remains a mystery? Because all of the medical care is donated, and I'll show you that. It's right on her website. That's why she lumps it in with educational stuff. We assume animal care must be relatively inexpensive for Big Cat Rescue because on their website they say the sanctuary relies heavily on volunteers for cleaning, feeding, animal care, as well as soliciting donations, administrative tasks, and working in the on-site gift shop. Even the people in the gift shop are volunteers. Because it's, it's exciting to work in a gift shop, around tigers. You should pay to do that. In a lengthy interview with Owen McGabb, CEO of Sweet Process, Carole Baskin, CEO of Big Cat Rescue, let it slip that nobody is paid to feed the animals, clean the cages, or provide medical care. According to the interview transcript, Carole says, because when it comes to lions and tigers, people will work for free just to be around these animals. So we don't pay anyone to feed the cats or clean the cages. or do the medical care or any of these kind of things. So these are all done by volunteers. Big Cat's critics are often accused of lying when they mention how Big Cat Rescue rakes in millions of dollars while only a small portion of the money goes towards animal care. We get our figures from what is reported to the Internal Revenue Service. And I mean, it goes on and on. Big Cat Rescue, are they hiding money from the IRS? Yes, take a look at Big Cat Rescue's 2018 finances. There's a lot of money to be made in the animal rescue business. The best money can buy, right? Let's see if we can get this. Let me see something. Why can't I? See if this will work. In our analysis of last year's tax return 2018, we observed how Big Cat's Rescue annual revenue has been on a steady incline for over a decade. With that knowledge in mind, we weren't surprised to find out that the upward trend didn't deviate in 2018. According to the 2018 tax return, Big Cat Rescue raked in a staggering $4,429,347, an increase of $314,000 from the previous year. In contrast to the amount of money they make each year, the amount of animals in Big Cat's Rescue's collection continues to dwindle. In their 2018 annual report, Big Cat Rescue said by the end of this year, we have 61 exotic cats and 37 of them are over the age of 12. 61 exotic cats is a far cry away from the once assortment of cats they had 4 years prior to 2018. In 2014, the homepage of Big Cat Rescue stated, we are home to over 100 lions, tigers, bobcats, cougars, and other species, of whom have been abandoned, abused, orphaned, saved from being turned into fur coats, or retired from performing acts. With such a sharp decline of animals in their care, the amount of money spent caring for the animals should decline as well, right? Oddly enough, that doesn't seem to be the case. Big Cat Rescue spent $663,401, about 14.97% of their total revenue on animal care and education programs. That's an increase of $46,759 when compared to what they spent back in 2014. Due to the cost of educational programs being combined with the cost of animal care, the actual cost of caring for the cats remains a mystery. As mentioned in our analysis of their 2017 tax returns, we do have insight as to what makes up animal care. In an article apparently created to smear the detractors, Big Cat admits that they have volunteers. As one example of his nonsensical attacks on Big Cat Rescue, he has been distributing a screenshot from our 990 tax form that shows that the line item animal care and educational programs is 18% of our total expenses, and claiming only 18% goes to the animals, trying to imply we do not use donor funds properly. Pretty funny from a guy who offers no transparency as to revenue or expenses and dupes people into supporting his exploitation. The line item he points to only includes direct costs like food, veterinarian care, and maintaining the cages. If animal care is comprised of many different expenses, then what could possibly make up educational programs? And what is considered education? is so broad. Unlike big cat rescue, sanctuaries like the Wildcat Sanctuary don't mask the amount of money they spend on their animals. And then they show their return where they break it down into sanctuary supplies, $87,000, veterinarian costs $79,000, animal costs $69,000, repairs and maintenance $52,000. So let's see. Below is part of a transcript from an interview which took place in 2014 with Carole. So this guy Owen says, wow, okay. And I think during the pre-interview you mentioned how does this work? So none of the people are paid to do the animal care, stuff like that. Carole says, right. Because when it comes to lions and tigers, people will work for free just to be around these kind of animals. So we don't pay anybody to feed the cats or clean the cages or do the medical care or any of these kind of things. So these are all done by volunteers. Then she says, but volunteers need management. And so the paid people are managing those volunteers to make sure they get the necessary training, that they're going to be safe, to schedule them, to take care of all of the different aspects of running a sanctuary. Big Cat Rescue claims the ultimate goal is to put themselves out of business. But how many high-profile organizations worth millions of dollars do you know that have willingly shut down their operations? Here's a quick recap for 2018. Total revenue, $4,429,000. Total expenses, $3,201,000. Salaries and benefits, $859,000. Total animal care and education, $663,000. So just look at that. Their salaries are more than they put in towards animal care and education. Total surplus, $1,227,000. Here's a few other highlights worth mentioning. Total assets, $11,546,866. Revenue from 2004 to 2018, $37,258,315. Animal care and education from 2004 to 2018, $6,780,000. Surplus from 2004 to 2018, $10,500,000. Okay? The least of those is put into animal care and education. So, pretty disgusting. What time is it? It's 4? Oh my goodness. We've gone through a lot here. Let's see what's going on. So what's going on? So how do you feel? Anybody want to talk about Carole? Have you had enough for tonight? Enough of Carole's lies? Anyone? What's going on? Your daughter's birthday is oh yeah, oh my gosh, that reminds me, I've got to leave a message for Jimmy. I'm gonna kill him. She's a liar, liar, pants on fire. Carole is so guilty. Nacho says like, oh, you're not okay. Carolyn, how many rolls of toilet paper do you have left? I have a lot left. We buy in bulk. You know, we buy those big, huge packages. We didn't buy any since the thing. She has a borderline personality disorder, Diana says. I don't think she is a marijuana or pot user. That's why. Oh, you also think she is. That's why she's gained the weight. But no, shouldn't she be able to have whatever she wants, Diana? Because she can visualize it. The calm, space out, pretentious look. Bet I'm right. Now they're going to reopen the case. They are. They're asking for tips. They've reopened it. It's never been closed. They're actively getting tips every day. And then I've got more news because there's a guy that might have helped that's come forward that Carole gave him all the guns. That Sunday, before Dawn went missing, he came home with all of Dawn's guns. Yeah. That'll probably be tomorrow. The lady sounds like a mess. Gotta go to bed. Okay, Caroline, good night. Case is active. Her weight is due to the love of chocolate and hard liquor. See, I can't even... Everything is so messed up on my... I can't even see what any of that stuff is. Because my... Oh, there's... I just fixed my... I just fixed it. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I can see. Trisha Mack, thank you for becoming a subscriber. And I don't know what everybody did before because... Gary said he can read that people are actually coming forth with tips, a lot of them. Gary said that he could read that. Gary said that he can read that. Yeah, they are. They're coming through with 6 a day, the guy said. At least 6 a day. Carole is the ultimate scam artist, Robin Lane says. And most likely a murderer who got away with it. That's the kindest way I could possibly say how I feel about her. No, you're not packing up. You can't go anywhere, Scooter. Scooter, you better not be going anywhere. You're not allowed. I haven't ever heard of Exotic Joe until today. He's creepy. Joe Exotics, you mean? You mean Joe Exotics. I think Carole's way creepier than Joe Exotics, if you want to know the truth. Joe Exotics is no angel, but I think Carole is way worse. Oh, okay, Scooter. You find it disturbing that there are 10,000 tigers in the USA. She won't take a lie detector test, correct? Can I just say something? Everybody stop. Does anyone here think Carole is innocent? Does anyone here think Carole is a good person and she's innocent and she's a great person? If anybody thinks that, say, I do. And nobody else type. Only the people, everybody stop typing. Only the people that are going to say I do type. And you're still typing. No, I didn't tell. No. The only people that are typing are supposed to be the ones that say I do. I know who would. You know who would too, right? Connie, not Connie, who's now Connie Gross. She would be like, I believe she's innocent. Yeah, man. You believe that Joe is entrapped. Yeah, I know. You mean, don't you mean, what's his name? Howard? Don't you mean Howard? Velamac? Leanne, I said, I think we're just excited to talk to others. About what, Lee? I missed that. I don't know, but she would say, he's innocent, she's innocent, she didn't do it, she's a good person, she doesn't lie. There shouldn't be anyone with big tigers in your backyard. Okay, so no one said it. Remember, he changed his mind the first time, and then they set him up to do with the second time, and then that is what put him in jail. Someone wanted to see my cats. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it though, Newfie, because I can't get into my mail because my Chrome went down, and to restart it, it's really messed up. It wouldn't even do it with the. I'll have to show them tomorrow. Sorry, because I can't get in there. That's why I had such a hard time showing pictures. I can't do it tonight. Yeah, I can't do it tonight because I can't get in my mail because my Chrome is down, and I'll have to restart the whole computer, and then that'll stop this whole thing. I tried to do it the other way, it won't do it. It seemed like entrapment, like the low guy set it up. Right. I don't know enough about the case to have an opinion. Okay. Season 2 theme song should be Destination. I don't think they're having a season 2. You think she is Looney Tunes? Well, we went over that, Robin. She lied about a lot of them. She lied about a lot of them. Some of them were born there. Some of them were in the pet trade. She lied about one. She said she couldn't walk, and when she started telling the story about this tiger, she said couldn't walk, and they had to take it. It was the same story that she gave about herself. Did anybody notice that? Anybody that was here? I wish you guys could listen and answer at the same time. It drives me crazy with the delay. Did anybody notice when she was talking about the tiger that couldn't walk? First of all, do you believe her story? Does anybody believe her story that she broke her neck and they carried her out of the hospital and she went to this guy's mother's house and she crawled along the floor on her elbows? Does anybody believe that story? Because she told the exact story with this lion that she said couldn't walk, that she was proven a liar because the lady that raised the lion was in a video with it. Is there anybody that believes that accident story she had? She was probably an fender bender at most. I want to see medical records, Carol, where you broke your neck and they carried you out of a hospital and that you were paralyzed, and then you walked around and you just built yourself up and you were able to miraculously put your spinal cord back together. Did you notice that she said the same? She went to say the same thing with the lion. Exactly, it's so fuzzy, like every other line of BS. She keeps adding on. Where's Potter? If any night I wanted Potter to be here. Potter kept saying, but she's a sanctuary. She's not a zoo. Potter, she couldn't get accepted as a zoo. The zoo had better, had stiffer requirements. What about? She's pathological. She is. Oh, yes, and the chiropractor, remember? Yeah. I broke my neck. They carried me out of the hospital. I left. I didn't even tell anybody I was leaving. They snuck me out. Nobody asked for me. And then they brought me to their parents' house, and I walked along the floor on my elbows, and then I started pulling myself up on furniture, and I healed myself because I always win. She always, and isn't that stupid? Does anybody find it so stupid that she's saying she found out how to always win when she was 5 or 6 years old when she won that wand with the lion head, but then she couldn't win anything after that? She kept, why do I keep attracting, why do I keep doing this? And she doesn't want to play the lottery because she's just that good, and that would be unfair. Do you believe a person of her morals, who with the love of money that she has, would not play the lottery for fear of winning? Do you believe that? Let me know that. I'm interested if anybody believes these lies. Please tell me you're not the type of people that would buy her books. Exclusive sardine oil. No, okay. And her place is a dump, Lisa D says. Good night, Jeanette Quinn. What a rat ball. She would be in traction for her broken neck. Grandiose, maybe. It's because she got away with murder. Nope. I was told after my accident not to go to a chiropractor because they could accidentally kill me. Kitcher says no way. Ramblers are not buying her baloney, Mommy. Sure. Check the septic tank. You're right. We went over that last night. There's something, broken necks are serious. Right? Yeah. They're just a little serious. Robin says, Carolyn, there's a special place in hell for people like Carol, period. I think she's guilty, Gigi says. It's Bing says, Carolyn, you need to make shirts that say, Connie who? We should get a shirt that says something about Carol being guilty, right? We should get a shirt about that. Carol, you liar. Maybe have her face on there or something. You think of something. We should get a shirt like that, or a mug like that at least. Don't you think so? We could all wear Carol, you're a murder. Carol, you got away with murder, something like that. She will take a cue from her. Remember, she got the pamphlet and she was selling the shirt about the tigers to educate people. So we can educate people that Carol got away with murder and needs to be investigated. Think of a good shirt for the investigation. What could it say? Carol's face and something? I don't know. Think about it. Have a tiger saying something about Carol? If we could get a tiger like licking his and saying, Carol's a liar. Yeah, something like that. We got to think of something good. We've got to think of something. That would be great. You could be running out of things to decoupage. Oh, no, never, never. Sometimes I think that, Lisa, and then there's always something. She wouldn't love it, no. But she would do, like, that's what she does. We have to think of a really good shirt. Think about that, okay? Think of a really, really good shirt. What kind of good shirt? Oh, that would be so fun. What was the mistake? I don't know what's going on. Carol is the type to deliberately make animals sick for donations. Munchausen syndrome. But she didn't care for her daughter, right? She didn't really care for her daughter too much. Debbie, we've got to think of something really good, but you need a slogan like, you know, I don't know, like get used to this. Like she's got to get used to the small cages or something. I don't know. We got to get here, kitty, kitty. Right? That was Joe Exotic's song. I don't know. We got to think of something. Carol's cup of tiger. I don't know. We've got to think of something. Thank you, the Angel Muniz Variety Show. She is totally messed up. She is, Evanet. That would be so funny. She loves cats more than her. I believe it. I totally believe it. You didn't really, yeah. They didn't say too, I don't think they said that much about her in there. Oh, I want to show you guys something. Hold on. Before we go, I have to show you guys something on Carole's site. Hold on. Isn't it funny how she doesn't hire anyone and they made all kinds of flipping mistakes? Her, oh my gosh, can you imagine how the people that are against her were laughing their butts off saying that? Carole, put that on the main page. I've known people that have done that with blogs who didn't know what they were doing and they didn't pay anybody and they made such stupid mistakes. Oh my gosh, okay. So this is Carole's site. Oh, isn't that lovely? A very personal message. Now, the other channel on YouTube, this Bobcat Daily, that's Howard's site. Okay, Howie. You see all these bogus things? These are all bogus. It's like that Who's Who book. You pay to get your name in there. That's what Carole does. Okay? Then if her income isn't enough, she has to make sure that you buy stuff on Amazon, and it's going to be for the tigers. You know that? A wonderful way to support the cats at no cost to you is to go to your Amazon.com account and sign up for Amazon Smile and have 0.5% of your purchases donated to the Big Cat Rescue. Because you know that's going right to those cats. Give now. Come on. Carole needs money. Can we count on your help? No. Okay, what are they doing with their staff and volunteers? Some of our staffs are working from home. Our weekly staff meetings are being held. What about the volunteers? Who's feeding the cats and everything? The staff and volunteers who are at high risk for infection are helping out with our online presence during this crisis as a way to stay sane. See, she's always acting like she's doing people freaking favors. Oh, they're just volunteering to stay sane. Yeah, okay, Carole. Who's feeding the animals and stuff, Carole? Thanks to our amazing donors, the sanctuary cats have a fully funded pension. That's all those people that support this. Hi, we need your money for the pension. That will provide food and vet care. What vet care, Carole? Your vet care is free. You're such a liar. Okay, now watch this. Where's their staff? So I was looking at that today. I think it's on the bottom. Where did I see their staff? I saw her staff, and all of the veterinarians all said they volunteer their time. Celebrities. Look at that. Let's see what the celebrities are doing. This is probably the celebrity that she met, right? Celebrities who love Big Cat Rescue. Let's see. Oh, Bo Derek. That was probably, wouldn't Bo Derek be about this woman's age? Let's see if she... We should tweet all these celebrities. Yeah, let's see. She's probably lying about half of these. Big Cat Rescue has had the honor of being visited by... Okay, she's not saying they support... They might have visited. Or working with a number of big-name celebrities, including Bo Derek, Harrison Ford, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jane Goodall, yeah, I'm sure, okay, Kate Walsh, Carrie Payton, Barbara Niven, Jack Harris, Jim Fowler, Bill Murphy, Tippi Hedren loves that, right? Tim Harrison, Arch Deal, Congresswoman Castor, athletes from the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Lightning, the New York Yankees. Oh, the New York Yankees, the whole team. She is just, yeah, okay. You've got some really big name celebrities there. Okay. Jethro Tull likes them? Okay. Everybody should tweet to these, like Leonardo DiCaprio, saying, I can't believe you support, but yeah, she's such a liar. Oh my gosh, this woman lies. So where did I see their volunteers? I have it on my other computer. But all of their, let's go to frequently asked questions. Oh, yes, she's so good. No petting, no petting, no petting. The white tiger fraud. Who, you? How is it different than a zoo? You know what the difference is? It couldn't get the accreditation it needed to become a zoo. That's how it's different. It's substandard. Oh, Big Cat Rescue transport cages and vehicles can haul 2 rolling circus wagons. It's funny that she says circus wagons. I'm sure these were all donated too, because Carole doesn't spend a dime of her own money. Do you see anything about this woman giving back anywhere? Anywhere where she has a day where underprivileged children can come and see them? Never, because it doesn't put money in Carole's pocket. She's the worst kind of, such a horrible person. She's the person that builds a higher fence and not a longer table. Maybe we could put that on there. Carole Baskin is the kind that builds a higher fence and not a longer table when the going gets tough. Okay, let's see here. I don't know. I had it today where they meet us. Let me see. It said staff. Doesn't make sense. She's not promoting the Tiger King documentary. See that? Or is she? She is. Look at that. Jeff Lowe weighs in on a net brand. Oh, she's putting this one because it brands Joe Exotic as a monster. Yeah, what does it brand you as, honey? A killer? I'm sorry. Here she's got this one, yeah. Doc Antle backlash and more explained. What happened when the Tiger King came to San Angelo? Oh, here's these lovely photos. Carole Baskin shouldn't be Tiger King's villain. Oh boy, look at she put on about herself. She's such a narcissist. Carole Baskin, the big cat lady featured in Netflix docuseries Tiger King, was born in San Antonio. Oh, Carole. Oh, Carole. Big Cat Rescue CEO disapproves of Tiger King documentary, calling it sensational. Carole. Volunteer. It's tough work being a big cat rescuer. Do you have what it takes? Volunteer on site, see below. Intern for 3 months in exchange for lodging and the experience of a lifetime. Volunteer off-site from your home as an advocat. Let's see what an advocat is. It's probably the one that leaves the fake comments places. They just changed it up a little bit. Put your claws into the cause. Want to help big cat rescue and big cat abuse? How are you ending big cat abuse and exploitation? Sign up below to be an advocate and be the first one notified when action is needed for the cats. We will also tell you about our most recent rescues and how you can get involved no matter where you live. Click on the Enter Now button to sign up today and then scroll down the page and see some ways you can take action as an advocate. See, she wants you to leave. I guarantee you she's just doing this in another way. You're going to leave stuff, receive our alerts, take action, yeah. Take action, call and write your legislator, take action, protest circuses with cats. Sure, do all her dirty work for free. Vote for legislators who support animal action. Give a presentation about a big cat abuse. Sure. Table an event. Submit a letter to the editor. Tell your friends. Two distinct departments with diverse skill levels. Oh, animal husbandry. Trainees in the red shirt, the keeper's the yellow shirt, the senior keeper's the green shirt, the master keeper's the navy shirt. Partnerships. Red, yellow, green. Okay. Due to physical demands of the partner positions, the following criteria: you must be 18 years old and possess a valid driver's license, because you probably have to run errands for her. You must possess vision and hearing at adequate levels. You must possess adequate literacy and verbal comprehension of English. And you must give a complete disclosure of any prescription drugs. Any partner unable to meet these physical demands may be assigned specific duties to accommodate special needs. Senior partner duties may include training in partner positions, volunteer orientation, outreaches, gift shop transaction, donation solicitation. You can go out there and beg for donations for her. You can pick up donations for her. Oh my goodness. Oh, you people are nuts. Dress code. Volunteers must each wear a volunteer shirt. I'm sure they have to pay for it. Each volunteer must wear a shirt in the color designated for his or her level. Volunteer tank tops are available, but are only to be worn when working on a project, not when working with guests. Volunteers are available, but only visible to guests at any time while on the property, and they must look presentable. Yeah, like your grounds, right, are so presentable. Closed-toe shoes. I want to see. Doesn't she? Oh my gosh. Leave of absence. A volunteer may be granted a temporary leave of absence or a period of reduced activity for a good cause. This absence or period of reduced activity can last no longer than 1 month. The volunteer will not be penalized for not meeting their hourly requirements. Wow! And will not lose their status during the designated period subject to volunteer committee approval. The volunteer committee will evaluate any absences in excess of 1 month on a case-by-case basis. Trainees may not request a leave of absence. Oh, I'm sorry your parents were killed in that horrific accident, but I'm sorry, there's no leave of absence. Any trainee not meeting their minimum obligations may be required to repeat the orientation process and start the volunteer program over again. Demotions, dismissals. Oh my goodness. infractions. The above policies and code of conduct apply to all volunteers, staff, and guests while on the property. Each person is responsible to abide by and enforce these policies and the code of conduct. Any infraction of the policies or code of conduct needs to be immediately brought to the violator's attention, as well as to the volunteer coordinator and the volunteer committee. The volunteer committee will decide the appropriate action or disciplinary measure. Howard will give you a few lashes with the tiger whips. Okay. Demotion, dismissal, etc. Tiger whips. Any infraction of these policies or code of conduct will result in an incident report, which will become a permanent record. Oh my gosh, this woman is incredible. The permanent record in the violator's file. Be a part of the best trained team in the animal kingdom. Be a big cat volunteer. That sounds, I don't know. What do you guys think? Look, Zoo College. That sounds really great. That sounds so good. Let's see the 12. Oh, I'd love to be a volunteer, but I'm just 14. Which county are you in? Uh-oh. Are you in? Nope, you're not going to be accepted. Darn, I want to be a keeper. I guess I'm going to have to wait a few more years. Look at these are from 2012. I want to become a volunteer. This is right up my alley. These are probably some of the things she paid for. I would like to be part of Big Cat Rescue. Volunteer. Carol puts that. Oh my gosh. Hi, Sir Daniel and Simon in Kenya. What? I'm from France and I'd like to be a volunteer. Okay. How do I sign up? Oh my gosh. Crazy. But I'll have to find their staff. Yeah, let me just see if something, hold on 1 second. Hold on. I think I found it. Oh no. Let's see. She took that page off. It's off. Maybe wow. People must have been talking about it because you go, it's a 404, it's a missing page now. Oh no, Carol, she took the staff off. I guess she doesn't want anyone to see all the free vets that are there. Oh wow. Okay, so I'm not losing my mind. All right, that's good. Well, maybe about other things, but not about that. Okay. All right, then I think we have to, hold on, I have to come back to the chat. And then I think we have to go. She's completely out of record. You'll keep your shirt. Absence for a job for free. You'll have to repeat that. She must have people that just, maybe they are, maybe, I can picture that guy Howard really weird, okay? I really can. I can picture him really, really weird, okay? So maybe they have a bunch of really weird people that like to be ordered around. And maybe she comes out like in, I don't know, she's weird. I think they're both weird. Howard's 52 when she met him. And he's never been married and never been in a relationship. So that's a little scary. He's probably living with his mother. Okay. She never wore sandals. Circumstances have made this series a massive hit, and Carol's a criminal. There are no accidents, karma is real, and it's coming for Carol. That's a good thing. Carol, karma's calling. That would be a good thing for a shirt, something like that, right? Carol, can you hear that? It's karma, and it's calling for you. Cardi B is making a fundraiser. Well, yeah, I don't know if she's really going to do it, is she? She put it on a tweet. I think she was a lady of the night, and the real estate she was selling was between her legs. And the cat shows she was going to, she was showing off the little pussy cats. I don't even know if Harold and her have even been together. She might be a cover, or as that other guy would say, a beard for Howard. Thank you for subscribing, Dalton McWilliams. Cage Carole. Carole needs to be in a cage. Someone made a Facebook profile. Carole Basket case. They should call her Carole Basket case. Is why couldn't they charge her for murder circumstantially? Because I don't even know. I have to find out. Did they ever, McSleuth, did they ever try to get the fingerprints from the van, from the key fob? Did they ever check that that guy has the guns that he said? And that her mother notarized that stuff? And that's illegal. Now she's pimping cats as opposed to herself. I think somebody has to talk to this Persons guy and the first husband, Murdoch. Michael Murdoch, if you'd like to talk to me, I'd be willing to talk to you. And the Persons guy that he asked about if he was in the shorts. The van they did? Okay. What about the key fob? There's a lot. There's so much I have on this. It's so crazy. We have to go over so much. I don't know how this just laid low for all that time. Well, her brother is her brother still on the force down there? Her brother's a deputy sheriff, and she couldn't believe he was because he's so shy. What do you mean? Her email address is on her website. Oh, and that lady Anne refutes everything Carole says, and she said if I did the things Carole did, she wouldn't let me go. She would sue me, and she would. Look how she went after Joe Exotics. Carole is a liar. Oh, is he the sheriff now? I wonder what he's thinking when everybody's in. Are you investigating my sister? My big sister? You didn't even watch Tiger King and you want her taken down? Maybe one of the cats. But wouldn't that have been something, right? Wouldn't that have been something if she said, Carole, you did the... If, Carole, you're so stupid to say he disappeared. What you should have done, if I'm just telling you, I mean, I would not have done it. I'm saying for you because you're nuts. You did what you did, but you didn't think. If you would have had somebody put him, you said he had dementia, you're playing that along, he's going in a dumpster, he doesn't know where he is. If you would have had him in his pajamas, somebody put him in a cage at night, and in the morning freak the freak out and call the police because your husband went into the tiger cage at night and the tiger ate him. Your thing was trying to get rid of him without a trace. Now she's going, damn it. Wouldn't you say if you had to make something happen like that, would you pretend he's gone without a trace, or would you pretend that this guy that has supposed dementia that she's saying, and he was going and they were afraid he was going to get killed. She said he thought he was going to lose his head, right? We can't believe he didn't lose his head. And she was probably laughing when she said that, like the other stuff, right? That the tiger ripped him right across. Wouldn't she have done that? Oh my gosh, look what happened. Turn on some tears if she could. Yeah, she tried to play the dementia, everything about it. Yeah, but why didn't she just have him wander into a tiger cage at night? She would have gotten away with that. Like, if she would, I can't believe it. I told everybody he was losing his mind and nobody listened to me. And now he got up in the middle of the night and I'm blaming myself. She could have brought him at gunpoint. Get in the freaking cage, right? No, Carole, no. We need Freak to freak out. Yeah, he said she hit his gun, yeah. Well, good night, it's Pink. People would have taken and dumped him at a hog farm. But why not just make it seem like he lost his mind and he went in the cage and the tiger ate him? Better if the tiger leaves pajamas and something there and she freaks out. Right, Diana? That would have made the better movie. Carole thinks she was smart, but Carole, it wasn't smart. No, she'll do something like she'd have a special door on that cage that locks behind you or something. There'd be a special latch that when he went in, it locked him in. She'd have whatever installed so that it locked him in there. Or that he just, he went in like and got grabbed by the leg and then he pulled the door and the door locked. Sanford and Son. She should have done that, because that, at least she's saying he was in a dumpster, so oh my gosh, he was in the tiger cage, and didn't he just get bit on the neck and he was almost decapitated, right? So if he was almost decapitated and people saw that, they would say like, oh my gosh, or she could just unlock it while the police are pulling in the driveway and saying, when I came here, it was unlocked, right? I had to lock it. I can't have anybody else at risk. How would they know it was locked or it wasn't unlocked? The tiger was so happy that he was eating Don that he wasn't looking to get out. Or she could have even lied and well, then she would get in a lot of trouble if that tiger disappeared. But she could pretend. She could pretend, and she had to throw a tranquilizer dart in it because the door was wide open and the tiger was roaming the grounds, and she had to shoot it with the tranquilizer dart. She would do that. And then that would look like a hero. She's a hero. She was trying to save him. She could say she heard screams and she got a robe on and she was running out and she saw the tiger eating Dawn, and she ran into that veterinarian shed and she grabbed up a tranquilizer dart, right? But by the time she got there, it was too late. And she tranquilized the lion, but he had already eaten Dawn. There were only 2 legs left. She could have chucked the key in and Dawn must have locked the cage. Yeah, there's so many things she could have done. Her problem was trying to get rid of Dawn completely. And I can just see Carol's like, damn it. You're crawling on the floor on your arms because you can't walk because you broke your neck, too, Scooter? Probably. If she had only thought about it, not that I would do anything like that, but if somebody say, it's like that OJ thing. If I would have done it, Carol should do that now, right? If I would have done it. Carol, can you write this book, If You Would Have Done It? We know you didn't do it, but if you would have done it, what would you have done? But she'd have to put, if I would have done it the way they thought, now that I've thought about it, I would have done it this way. Make sure we see Jimmy every stream going forward. Did I tell you Jimmy's getting a little forgetful? He keeps going down to the lake at night. I don't know why. I keep telling him, you're going to slip and fall in there and the water's cold. It's a joke, people. Oh, 11 people want you to die? Really? That's terrible. Fire Stick was hooked to your TV, which caused you to pay for Amazon Prime and then pay $8.99 for Netflix. I can't. No. Call them up, Julie, and explain it. You'll get a refund. Call them up and explain it. Just say, I didn't know that it was hooked up. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaked out. Just tell them. They'll give you a refund. Go chat with them. They're like available. Just go chat with them. They'll give you a refund. We need 7 more likes before we can go. He started night swimming. 7 more likes. Oh my gosh. Come on, guys. 7 more likes. Imagine being so you chase other big cat enthusiasts around the country trying to stop them from making a living while you do just about everything else they are doing. Big cat mafia. Right, McSleuth. Absolutely. She wants their cats. That's why her cats are dwindling. She needs their cats. If she says she wants to close her business, she does not want to close her business. That's her cash cow. Cash line. I didn't know it cost for that. Julie, just call them. I'm telling you, you'll get your money back. Oh, there's 200 now. Okay, good. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Anyway, thank you to the moderators. Thank you guys for coming. We'll think of a Carol. Think of some good Carol slogans. We could do more than one. There's a lot. We could have some lady on the phone. Carol? It's phone for you. It's karma calling. Okay, anyway. So, did they drag that swamp? And there's probably alligators in there. Like that other lady, for 18 years, she said her husband was eaten by an alligator. Remember that lady? And they caught her. First degree murder. She went to jail after 18 years. So Carol's pretty much in that vicinity. She got away a little longer. Can you imagine seeing Carol going to jail? Can you imagine? She'd probably do a FOTUS duelist. If they can't let her out on bail, because she would definitely do a FOTUS. I'm not going there. She would either go on the run. Oh, speaking of which, that other video where those 2 little girls were drowned in the stream, well, they were found in the stream, and the parents were on the run, they found the parents, they killed themselves. The West Virginia? Yeah. All right. Yeah, call them. I'm telling you, Julie, you'll get your money back. You better call them now. I don't know anything about a Fire Stick. I think you watch TV on it. I don't know. All right. I think is it like, I don't know what it is. So I don't use one. All right, everybody take care. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you guys for coming. See you tomorrow. Smash the likes if you haven't. God bless. Prayers for all who need them. And I don't know what else. Okay. End the meeting. End the meeting.